Well, good morning, everybody. Hopefully you can hear me okay. And I'm still getting set up right now. I got into a conversation with some of the locals at the restaurant about some things going on and lost track of time. So I'm still getting things set up. So just have a chance to take some time to visit with each other, get acquainted, meet some new folks while I'm getting the rest of the setup done. And it looks like I just got a text from Susie from Minnesota telling me that the latest hat delivery is going to be arriving today between 8:30 and 10:30. So I'm not going to be able to receive it directly because I'll be down here in the live stream probably. But thank you again to Susie from Minnesota. She is making fabulous cow country hats. Many of you have seen them already. We sent some to London to be given to Adam and his partner, and they're going to be snapping some pictures over by Buckingham Palace. And I've sent them down to, gosh, I lose track. Sent some to Minnesota, to Oklahoma, Indiana. Susie's hats that she's making for cow country are going all over the place, all over the country, all around the world. And thank you again to her for her creative generosity in making those super cool hats for cow country, for the cow country family. Let's see here. So y'all just be patient. I'll put on some music for me. I don't know, you'll be able to hear it. I don't have a mixer yet. I'm going to get one eventually, and I'll get the rest of these sew-offs set up to present this second machine that I prepared for John Hartzell from the great state of Connecticut. You may have seen that last live stream that I did with the leather-eating monster, the little brother to the 201-2. I'll come into the shot real quick here. You may have seen that last live stream where I presented the first machine that I prepared for John Hartzell of Connecticut. I think I'm finally in the shot. Happy Saturday. So this is the second machine that I'm preparing for John Hartzell now of Connecticut. And I always refer to the 201-2 as the big brother to the 1591 because both of them were designed to be leather-eating machines. Both of them have that unique potted style motor that's on the back that gives the machines direct drive positive traction. The beauty again of the 1591 and the 201-2, if you didn't know it, is they don't need a belt. They never have a belt on them, period. It's gear to gear drive, which means positive traction. When you launch, it's like having traction control on a contemporary car. There's no slippage. That machine just bites into whatever you're sewing, and it just goes after that sew off. So it'll be fun to see what we can do with the big brother of the 1591 today. And before I jump into finishing cutting some more sew offs for us to sew, does anyone know what year the 201-2 was introduced? When did it roll out, and what machine did it take over for? In other words, there was another machine that Singer had on the scene for about 3 decades before the 201 class was ever introduced. And the class 201 took over the legacy of this other machine and went on to become probably one of the most popular Singer sewing machines ever made. And the machine that I introduced to you before, the 1591, the little brother of this machine, was actually introduced only a few years before the class 201. So any of that you want to type into the chat to demonstrate your knowledge would be super cool. Then it becomes a teaching tool for everybody else that's a part of the live stream and everyone else that watches this video afterwards. And our following, I'll just share with you real quick before I go back to cutting sew-off materials. Our following continues to grow exponentially. That's a 10-cent word for we are just growing at a crazy, crazy rate. And I'm sure it's because of all of you telling others about what we do on this channel and encouraging them to become part of the cow country family. But the last live stream we did, where we introduced John's other machine, the 1591, we had almost 200 people that watched that live stream and or video within an hour of us posting it on my YouTube channel. Almost 200. It's insane. It's insane. I'm inspired to ring the bell. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. So, it's just amazing how quickly our family is growing. Everyone wants to be a part of the Cow Country family, and not just because of me, it's because of all of you. All of you making those individuals feel welcome. Look in the live chat, in the last couple of live streams, we've got so many new folks showing up, and I'm so grateful to have them here. And all of you make them feel so welcome. All of you make them feel like they're part of the family, which they are. So, wow. Can you imagine almost 200 people within an hour of that last live stream were already checking things out. It's crazy. All right, let me change the camera back over to John's 201-2. And also, I'll give you one other thing. I'll look at the live chat because I threw some questions at you. I threw some questions about when did they introduce the 201-2? When did they introduce the Class 201 series? What did this particular series take over for? What did it take over for? So you answer those questions, and then I might hit you with some other questions as well. All right, I think I almost got it adjusted here. I'm starting to figure this thing out. Starting to figure this out a little bit more. I just hope I don't knock it over. There we go. That's a pretty good shot. Wow. Yes. Ha-ha! I'm starting to figure this puppy out. All right. I'm going to put on some music. I'll look at the live chat real quick, and then I'll finish doing my sew off prep, which I should have already done. But when you're in a local town like Oconto, you get to know everybody, and everybody gets to know you. Anyone that's ever lived in a small town knows exactly what I'm talking about. And when you meet folks and they're on an interesting discussion, where am I? Yeah, there I am. They're on an interesting discussion. I'm going to tip over here any second now. You got to join the chat. You got to join the chat, and hopefully, any of you that are in the shadows right now will consider joining the chat. Introduce yourself. Talk about where you're from, why you're proud of where you live. Maybe you're from Tennessee, maybe you're from Oklahoma, maybe you're from Minnesota, maybe you're from New York. Meet some new folks and make some new friendships in the Cow Country family. Yeah. Hey, good morning to Susie again, and Susie is the one that has been preparing all those fabulous hats. She is in the second entry from the bottom, just above Emma. So thank you again to Susie for those cool hats. Good morning to Deborah. Good morning to Doreen Bailey. Good morning to Doreen. Good morning to, and I think that's everybody. Everyone that's in the live chat so far. I've said good morning to. Now I'm going to turn it over to my moderating team, my amazing, spectacular leadership team. And it looks like we have Susie and Emma there right now. If you have any questions, bounce it off of these wonderful ladies. Emma's originally from Brooklyn, New York. She's in Florida now. Susie is over in Minnesota. They will take good care of you. They will make you feel welcome. They're very knowledgeable. And I'm going to focus on getting the rest of the setup done. And then we'll jump into this live stream straight away. Okay? So have fun. Meet some new folks. Introduce yourself if you would. And yeah, that's it. All right. And I'm pretty sure it was Robin the last time that said, could we try sewing 3 layers of that compressed felt stuff? So I'm going to remember to cut out 3 layers so we can do 3 layers of the compressed felt. It almost, this stuff is so tough, it almost dulls the scissors when you're trying to cut through it. All right, getting really close here, getting really close. What I'm cutting right now, you can see in the shot, is I'm cutting saddle grade leather. And saddle grade leather is used in a number of different leather sewing type applications. You kind of get an impression of the thickness there. You've seen me sew this multiple times before, but probably one of the most popular applications is for equestrian type functions involving horses, reins, and other implements like that that are used in riding horses. And I recently had a chance to watch a movie on Netflix. I don't know if any of you have seen it. I had a chance to actually I love connecting with my leaders outside of live streams as well, whenever possible. So I'll get text messages from Susie or from Christine from Canada, or I'll get a call from Bill, or I'll get a note from Veronica or something like that. But I happened to watch Seabiscuit on Netflix with Emma. Emma has Netflix's, I guess a lot of people have Netflix, don't they? So Emma and I connected, I don't remember how many days ago, and we both wanted to see the movie, so we're texting each other about the movie as we're watching it, which is a lot of fun. But it's a fabulous movie. If anyone else has seen it or anyone else wants to see it, I don't know how long it'll be on Netflix, but check it out. It's an amazing story about this little horse that was really, really underestimated. Everyone almost laughed at it because it was such a small little horse compared to the other big, properly bred horses that were, however many hands tall. I've never quite understood that hand thing. Anyone that deals with horses probably does, but I guess they measure horses actually using their hands on top of each other or something. I have no idea, but great movie. You'll have to check it out. And another movie, I'll just make another quick little plug that's in the theaters right now that you'll want to check out when you have time. And I recently celebrated a birthday, and I went to the movies to celebrate my birthday. And I went to see the current movie with my buddy Tom Hanks portraying a fictitious character called Otto, Otto. I don't know if anyone has seen that movie, but if you have, type into the live chat what your impression was of Seabiscuit or what your impression was of the movie Otto that's in the theaters right now with Tom Hanks. But both movies. I always say when a movie is fabulous, it's like a stand-up and cheer type movie. And both of those movies, the one I watched with Emma through Netflix remotely, and this other one that I went to the theater on my birthday to watch, just unbelievable movies, quality, wholesome movies that you could pretty much take the whole family to. I mean, there's so much junk out there now. There's so much junk. It's so refreshing when you get a movie that just has a wholesome, rich storyline to it. And you just, you laugh, you cry, you do everything during the movie. It evokes every emotion from you as you're watching it. Kind of like when we do sew-offs. I know some of you laugh, some of you cry. You could admit it. You're among family. Be honest. Yeah. All right. So we have saddle grade leather, protected full grain leather. I've got genuine elk hide, couple different layers of that. I've got compressed felt. I've got this nylon, what is it? No, vinyl paper, nylon paper. That would be interesting, making paper out of nylon. I'd like to see that. I would like to see that sometime. So this is vinyl paper. I don't know why I have this. This is just an extra piece. I'll throw that to the side. A couple little strips of bubblegum material, and then some good old-fashioned cotton with a stiffener. So this isn't going to be quite as long as most of our live streams unless I come up with something else real quick. This is going to be our sew-off sandwich for this live stream today, all of these materials. And I've got to do something else real quick. I'm debating if I should change the needle out. You know what? I think I'll leave the needle in for right now. So the setup on this 201-2, and if someone wants to look up the birth date of it, and I'm just all over the place. Okay. So hopefully, I think I saw Emma posted the answer to when did the 201-2 first get introduced. The answer is 1935. 1935. And the 201-2 was an answer to seamstresses and tailors of the day. They loved the little brother of this machine, which is the 1591, that was introduced about 3 years before the 201-2. So if you didn't know that the 1591, almost a mirror image of this, it's just 3/4 size, was introduced in 1932, now you know it. So the 1591 came out first in 1932, and everyone loved the machine. The potted technology, eliminating the belt, it was just fabulous. Plus, the 1591 gave you the option to drop the feed dogs as well, which was wonderful. But they wanted more space. And so Singer then in 1935 said, we've been running with the Class 66. The Class 66, which has a bazillion different flavors of that machine, with the very first one coming out as the Class 66-1. which is the same machine that Bill O'Rourke uses down in Kissimmee, Florida. But there were so many other Class 66 models that they introduced over those almost 3 decades of the machine being out there. But it had outlived its usefulness because they were wanting to move into a different phase. And the phase was, we want to introduce some machines that are going to give you a new level of sewing because of that potted motor design, that positive traction, that direct drive motor. And out came the Class 201 right around 1935. Does anyone know when this model was used by Rolls-Royce to sew the interior leather panels of their luxury cars? Does anyone know what year was the Class 201 used by Rolls-Royce to sew the interior leather panel of their luxury cars? About 12 or 13 years ago, I was the first one in the world after I'd done a lot of research to announce this model as the Rolls-Royce of singers. And it's because the roots of this machine go back to that incredible company of Rolls-Royce and them choosing what really by definition is a household sewing machine, but they chose that household sewing machine to do the most intricate sewing of the interior leather panels of their luxury Rolls-Royce cars in a certain period of time. I'm going to look at the chat, see if anybody knows the answer to that. And I think we're going to get started here pretty quick. There's so many other sew-offs that I could, prepare, but I think we'll run with this for today. I think we'll run with this. So let me look at the chat and we'll see what we got going on with our friends here. Oh, wow. Deborah is a basketball player. Deborah played with Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson is just a beautiful soul, isn't he? What a beautiful guy. Good morning to Stephen as well. So I'm not seeing anybody jumping into the specific questions. I think I've asked most of the questions about the machine at this point. The other question I'll throw out real quick, we've been talking about the Singer 201-2. We've been talking about the 1591, which is the little brother to this machine. Would someone type into the live chat anything you know about the two models that make them similar and anything you know about the two models that make them very different? I talk about the 1591 Singer being the little brother to the 201-2 that we're looking at on camera today. They share some similarities, but they also share some differences. So if anyone has the knowledge and wants to type into the live chat, this is what they share in common. This is what makes them very, very different. Go ahead and do that now as I get ready to launch into some sew-offs pretty quick here. And I will tell you that the needle, since the last live stream, I kind of held you in suspense for a while, forgetting to tell you what needle I had in the machine. I've got a standard Schmetz 9014 universal needle in the machine today, a standard 9014 universal needle. And if you're brand new to sewing, or if you don't know anything about sewing, 90 is the size of the needle, 14 is the size of the needle. One is a European type measurement. The other one is more of a US measurement. The European measurement being the 90, the 14 being the US equivalent. But a size 90-14 is a nice medium range type needle that can generally hold up to heavy duty sewing. It can manage lighter to medium type stage sewing. It's just a wonderful medium type sewing needle that I oftentimes use. I sometimes go a little bit bigger. I sometimes go a little bit smaller, but a 90-14, you can't hardly go wrong with it for a wide range of different sewing projects that you might decide to take on. So if you've never used a 90-14 needle before, and you've never sewn with a Schmetz needle before, go to Joann Fabrics, go to your local sewing center, and say, I want to try a Schmetz Universal 9014 sewing needle, because my buddy Scott in Wisconsin absolutely loves them. And he uses them almost exclusively, although we've jumped around to some other ones as well, haven't we? So check that out. And I'll look at the chat to see. And I didn't do a lot of sew-offs off camera with John's 201-2 from 1953. But yeah, I think we're ready. Steve is, let me look a little bit higher up here, make sure I don't miss anything. Oh, and Emma shared something interesting. I was talking about horses and talking about the movie Seabiscuit that we watched together remotely with Netflix. And she's saying that a hand equates to about 4 inches. 4 inches. And I don't remember how tall, I don't know that they ever said how tall Seabiscuit was. They talked about this big imposing horse that Seabiscuit ran against. And I think that horse was like something ridiculous. It was like 15 hands high or something like that. But it's good to know that a hand equates to about 4 inches. I didn't know that. See what I'm saying? We always learn from each other in these live streams, don't we? We always learn from each other. Let's see. And Stephen typed rotary hook question mark. Rotary hook question mark. And then Steve goes on to say that the Class 15-91 has an oscillating hook system. Susie writes that Rolls-Royce used the Class 201 between 1948 and 1952, which was absolutely correct. And she got it from a much more reliable source than Wikipedia. She got it from my Facebook page. So great job, Susie, and you're spot on. Rolls-Royce did, in fact, use the Class 201 from 1948 to 1952. And that's bragging rights. That's bragging rights. I don't know of any other household family-style sewing machine that Rolls-Royce ever used other than the Class 201. So that's why they're so coveted. And my buddy John from Connecticut said, okay, you prepared a 1591 for me, the little brother of the 201-2. Now I want the big brother. Now I want the big brother. And so we're going to be sewing with the big brother today, the Rolls-Royce of Singer sewing machines. And any of you that remember one of the fundraisers that we've done to give back to folks that are in need, we did a fundraiser for the History Museum down in South Bend, Indiana, and we raised about $12,000 in 10 days. We raised about $12,000 in 10 days for the History Museum down in South Bend, Indiana. That was right in the middle of the pandemic, And a lot of our donors even were out of work. They still donated to support the cause. But does anyone remember that mansion that I took you on a tour of? It's called Kopsha Home. Does anyone remember what machine the Oliver family, and yes, they were called Oliver too. The Oliver family had a sewing machine that I showed you on my tour of that incredible mansion when I was walking through it with Skylar on a private tour just for the Cow Country family, exclusively a private tour for the Cow Country family. We got some clout, you guys. We got some clout. We're getting private tours of mansions. And when we walked through that mansion with Skylar, we looked in the sewing room, which was kind of dark. And first of all, I misidentified the machine. Then I backed up and I said, no. That is, what kind of machine was that? Does anyone remember? I'm wondering if anyone remembers what what the Oliver family had in that mansion in South Bend, Indiana. And these were millionaires, folks. They could have bought any sewing machine that they wanted. And they bought this particular sewing machine, and it was in their sewing room when we as a cow country family got a private behind the scenes tour of spaces in that mansion that no one else was allowed to see. No one. Not even some of the staff are allowed to go into some of those spaces, because Skylar is a curator and she's like, no, only Scott and the cow country family get to see some of these areas. Yeah. And Emma type 201-2, this model right here. And that is, in fact, the machine that the Oliver family in the Oliver Mansion, Kopsha home, millionaire family, they could have bought any sewing machine they wanted, and they bought this machine right here. And the cool thing about this machine from 1953 is it's possible, I'm just saying it's possible, that since Rolls-Royce used the Class 201 machine from 1948 to 1952, it's possible that this machine might have been used by Rolls-Royce, because let's face it, when they make a machine like this, it's earmarked as 1953, but we've seen before where they have a machine earmarked from 1953, but it was actually produced a year before. So I'm spitballing here. I'm spitballing, but it's possible that the machine we're working with today that's going to be heading to Connecticut to John Hartzell, that already has had from the workshop the little brother of this machine prepared for him. It's possible that this machine actually sewed some leather panels for the Rolls-Royce. That blows me away. That blows me away. Wow. Wow. All right, let's get busy here. Let's get busy. So again, we're using a universal needle. We do not have a leather needle in it like we did with the little brother. We'll see how this needle does. We'll see how the universal needle does in relation to this wide field of sew-offs that we're going to do. So some of the other things I'll share with you real quick as we're launching into the first sew-off is Stephen and some others wrote some of the comparisons and the differences of these models. Obviously, the Singer 201-2 is going to have a rotary hook system, which means it's turning in a complete circle as it's sewing. The 1591 has an oscillating hook system, which means it acts like a pendulum going back and forth like this. Some of the other similarities that no one mentioned is when you're setting up these machines for sewing, you're going to be orientating the flat side of the needle to the left on both of these models. So on the 1591, which has the oscillating hook system, and also on the 201-2 that has the rotary hook system, in both instances, you're going to be putting the flat side of that needle to the left side. Also, on both of these models, when you finally get done threading the machine and you get all the way down to that needle, you're going to be threading both machines from right to left, from right to left. Another similarity between both of these machines is that when we drop that bobbin into the machine, in the Class 15-91, we're going to have a bobbin case. And when we put that bobbin into that bobbin case, we're going to be orientating that thread so that it's going to be turning clockwise. The same thing is true of the Class 66 bobbin that we put in the 201-2. When we drop it in here into this drop-in bobbin, which is so convenient and so nice, we're going to be orientating that bobbin so that it's going to also be turning clockwise. It'll be turning clockwise. So if you didn't know that about these two models that are similar, but in some ways very different, rotary hook system versus oscillating hook system, they still share a lot of commonality as far as the setup of the machine. Flat side to the left, both machines. Threading of the machine down at the needle from right to left. Orientation of the bobbins, either in the drop-in space or in the bobbin case on the class 15, those bobbins, when they're dispensing that thread, both bobbins are going to be turning clockwise. So if you didn't know that about these two models, would you be so kind as to put a smiley face or a thumbs up or something like that in the live chat so that I know that that information that I just shared is helpful to you? That way, when you go out into some of these Facebook groups where, let's just face it, there is misinformation being dispensed, you can be the one that's armed with the facts and the truth about these two models. And you can say, actually, correction, the 1591 and the 201-2 and blah, blah, blah. And then you could share your knowledge, not to be cocky, but to set the record straight. Because I always say it, in our classroom, we are fellow students and also fellow teachers. And that's also true when we step out of the classroom. We also need to share that knowledge with others out there that might be getting misinformation. And any of you that are part of some of those Facebook groups you already know what I'm talking about. You've even told me, Scott, it was so great that you shared this information about this particular model. These folks were saying this in that group, and some of them were leaders of the group. And I shared the knowledge and the fact with them, which initially was challenged. And then they fact checked me, and all of a sudden they were like, oh, wow, you're right. Where did you learn that? And that's how we gain more folks to our family. We can come into the classroom, we can share our knowledge, and we can make the world better in the VSM space because of it. Yeah. Aha! Oh. Willkommen, Tadel from Deutschland. Schönes Wochenende. And ich heiße Scott. And willkommen. Welcome. Great to have somebody from Germany today. And I know the leadership team is already making them feel welcome. Germany is such a beautiful country. I'm not going to go into all that right now, but most of you know that I lived in Germany for 3 Jahre, for 3 years, as an Amerikaner Soldat, as an American soldier. And I fell in love with the German people immediately. Warm, kind, welcoming, generous, thoughtful, everything that I was told that they were not before I went to Germany. Before I went to Germany, they're like, oh, the Germans are cold and distant and aloof people. That's malarkey. They're wonderful, warm, loving, kind people. And I absolutely love the country of Germany. I absolutely love the German people. Wonderful, wonderful folks. So it's great to have you here. All right, let's do a little bit of sewing on this 201-2. Again, we're going to be using a universal needle. So we'll see how it holds up. We'll see how it does. And I'm going to shut my heater off as well. So it's a little bit quieter in the workshop. All I have running right now is the fan that's underneath my laptop for the live stream. Because when it's driving the camera and everything like that, I didn't know this, but the more stuff you hook up to a laptop, like you're live streaming, you've got audio hooked up to it and everything else, it makes that machine work harder. I guess that shouldn't be a big surprise, right? But it makes that machine work harder, which means it gets warmer. So I've got a little fan running underneath it right now to keep it nice and cool, hopefully. So we'll start off with this 100% cotton. It's got a stiffener in between. And I've got the stitch length set right now on 6 stitches per inch. So I'll get my little measuring tape. We'll actually measure it when we're done doing this sew off, just to see how close the calibration and feet of the machine is. If you didn't know it about sewing machines, right up here, we've got the presser foot adjustment on this 201-2. If you turn it clockwise, it's going to put more pressure against that material, forcing that material into the feed dogs. And that will ensure that you're getting proper feed, which means your stitches will be more robust. They'll be fuller, and you're more likely to hit that mark when you set your stitch length at 6 stitches per inch. You're more likely to hit that mark of actually getting 6 stitches per inch. If you've never done that with your sewing machine at home, do that. set your stitch length on a certain number of stitches per inch, and then get out your little measure and see how close it is. If your stitches are stubbier and you're getting, say, 8 stitches per inch when you've got it on 6, you might have to bump up your presser foot pressure to try to get that machine to feed more evenly and to get you more robust, fuller stitches. That's really what the presser foot pressure does beautifully, is it controls that feed factor. Okay, so let's do this. And yes, I've got an LED light in the machine, so I might flick that off. Let's see. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be making a big impact either way. So I'll actually try to get the camera down a little bit closer if I'm able to. Let's see here. Almost got it. There we go. That's a pretty good shot. Just compare it. Yeah, it's better. It's better with the light off. So I'm going to leave the light off for right now. And when I rewired this machine, the 201-2 is set up so that the light can be independent of the sewing machine power, which is great. That way you don't have to have it on. We've had some machines that I presented that you got to have the light on and then it just goofs around with the camera all day long. All right, so let's put this to work and give this machine a listen. Give this machine a listen and listen to how smoothly that potted motor drives this machine. And while I'm starting this sew off, let me throw another question out to all of you. And that is, what are the standard size motors? What are the two standard size motors that both the 1591, the little brother, and also the big brother, the 201-2, what are the standard size motors, the potted motors that these two machines come with? And certainly earlier on in the production, they used the bigger motors more commonly, and then they moved to the smaller motor as they were going through the production phase later. So you could find either one. You got to pop off the cover on the back to tell what kind of motor size your 1591 or your 201-2 has, to know exactly what size motor you have. I'm just putting on my DeWalt jacket. I shut off that heater, and it's only about 21 degrees. It's only about 21 degrees here today. So it's a little chilly down in the workshop. It's probably about, I'm guessing it's probably about 58 degrees, something like that. See, give you an idea. I'll actually use my temp gun to get the surface temperature of the machine. Oh, it's warmer than I thought. The machine bed surface is about 60.2 degrees right now. So it's about 60 degrees probably in the workshop today. I probably didn't need to put my jacket on. It's so warm. Yeah. And some of you that live in Florida and Arizona are saying, you should be freezing to death at 60 degrees, dude. You should be freezing to death. Okay, let's sew this off and see what you guys think of this machine. All right, here we go. 100% cotton with a stiffener. Here we go. Yep. All I can say is silky smooth. Yeah, it was just running. It was literally just running. It's so quiet. It's ridiculously quiet, this 201-2. So I'm not looking at the chat right now. I'm over here by the sewing machine. So I am hoping that what someone typed in the live chat is that the standard size motors for the 1591 and the 201-2 is either 0.5 amps, or if the machine was made earlier in the production cycle, 0.6 amps. It's just like the last 1591 that I showed you that I prepared for John as well. That particular 1591, which I believe was from 1934, right? That particular early version of the 1591 had a 0.6 amp motor. This 201-2 from 1953 actually has a smaller potted motor than its little brother that I just showed you on that live stream, where we had about 200 people within an hour that had already watched the live stream and or the video. So that's the deceptive thing. When you look at a big machine like this, you're going to assume that it's got a bigger motor than the little brother that you just saw live stream. But in this instance, it actually has a smaller motor than that little brother that we just presented on that other live stream. Smaller motor. Absolutely spectacular stitching. I'm going to lay one more stitch line and reduce the stitch length. And then I'll show you the stitches on this 100% cotton. And I always say it just as a tip. And I recently shared this in trying to help someone that sent us a note through Facebook Messenger as well. But whenever you launch, always make sure your take-up arm, this is your take-up arm right here. Make sure your take-up arm is at the highest position and getting ready to go on a downstroke. So it's going to come all the way to the top. I'm bringing it up higher and higher and higher and higher. And then it reaches that peak. And then it starts to come on that downstroke. That's where you want to launch whenever possible. See right there, it's beginning to go on that downstroke. Hopefully you can see that in the shot. Always launch like that and you'll have much better results, especially if you're doing heavier duty sewing or if you're sewing multiple layers. So I'll just show you real quick. I'll kind of bend the camera again. I have the camera like on this octopus arm right now. I've got it like on an octopus arm right now, so I have to kind of manipulate it to get it to aim the direction that I want it to go. And Emma's the one that got me this really cool octopus arm, which gives me a lot more flexibility in being able to use the camera. I'm actually going to detach it just for a second, though, and we'll look at this machine from the front. So as we're looking at this machine from the front, just a quick lay of the land. This switch over here is going to allow us to turn the light on and off. Over here, we've got our stitch length. And again, the machine is going to be able to sew anything from 6 stitches per inch all the way down to 30 stitches per inch. And as we move it up like this, so we move it up, 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 we're going to hit that reverse range where we'll be sewing in reverse as well. Can move it all the way up if we want to get a real short stitch, and then move it back down towards that center point where we're going to start sewing forward again, but at a very small stitch, in the satin range right around here. And then they also have this little feature, which I very seldom use, but it's nice, is it allows us to set a boundary so that once we set a stitch length, we can lock this, we can unscrew this and lock it into place, and then it will restrict the range of how far that stitch length control can move. That way we don't inadvertently slide into a different stitch length and it messes up our project. What else do I want to show you? Obviously our upper tension. I'll show you a quick threading of this machine as well. I've already talked a little bit about that, but coming off the top, let's see which way my thread is there. Coming off the top, there we go. Coming off the top spool pin, we're going to be coming through this thread guide first right here, coming down and around the tension discs. And when you come down and around the tension discs, you have to draw that thread up so that it catches this take-up check spring, and it draws the thread into this little notch right there. It kind of cradles in that little notch right there, if you can see that in the shot. Then we're going to be going up to the take-up arm and threading the take-up arm from right to left, coming through our thread guide right here on the faceplate. There it is. We're going to be coming through this thread guide right here. We actually have to kind of draw it into that little space right there on that thread guide. And then we've got another thread guide that sometimes is missed right down here at the top of the needle. So thread guide, thread guide. Make sure you get both of those thread guides when you thread your 201-2. And then finally, we come down to the needle. And like I said, It's the same for the 1591 and also for the 201-2. We're going to thread the machine from right to left, and we're going to make sure that the flat side of the needle on both machines, the little brother and the big brother, the flat side is facing to the left as well. Okay? Yeah, just a little tip. And again, just like its little brother on the 201-2, you've got the feed dog drop, and that's underneath the edge right here. You just unscrew it, and then that drops down. And then when you're done, you push it back up and you screw that back in again. I showed you that on the 1591. It's exactly the same design. And then you have the option to do free motion quilting and freehand embroidery. Now, I don't know if I showed you before the actual serial number, but if someone wants to look the serial number up and give us the actual birth date of this 1953 machine and post it in the live chat, that would be super cool. So I'm going to look over my shoulder at the laptop. Hopefully I can get close enough to give you a clear view of the serial number. Yeah, there it is. Give you a clear view of the serial number, and you can look it up and then type in the full birth date and also the production group size of this machine as well. Standard production group size, in other words, how many machines they made in a particular production cycle. Typically for Singer, it was around 50,000 machines. In certain instances, it was as much as 100,000 machines or more. And this is going to have a much smaller production group size, this machine that I prepared for John, which increases the value of the machine significantly. The smaller the production group size, the more exclusive that machine is and the more rare it is. So hopefully you're able to see the serial number. I think it looks like it's AL375705. If someone wants to type that into the live chat, that would be great. So AL375705, and that'll get us closer to knowing the actual birth date and the production group size of this Rolls-Royce of Singer sewing machines. Making sure I'm attaching it back on the table properly. Still learning how to work with this snaky thing that Emma got me as a resource for the workshop. But it sure is nice. It sure is nice. A lot more flexibility. Okay, so I'm going to reduce the stitch length now, and we're going to stitch down one more time. And you'll notice as I'm moving the stitch length controller, see how it's actually moving the material back and forth, which means you have to be real careful when you're adjusting the stitch length on any sewing machine and on a 201-2 as well. You got to make sure that that needle is clear of the material, because otherwise, if that needle was down in the material right now and I'm doing this, it's moving it probably a good 3 millimeters or more, which means it could potentially bend that needle. So just make sure your needle is always clear. Whenever you're making adjustments on your sewing machine, make sure that that needle is clear of the material. Okay, so I've adjusted it down. Let me see if I can see what that is. Probably to around 10 or so stitches per inch, I'm thinking. Let me turn my light on to see. I think it's between, I've got it set right now between 10 and 12 stitches per inch. So I'm going to grab, before I forget, because I talked about doing this, I'm going to grab my little tape measure. We'll measure the first stitch line to see if we got close to six stitches per inch. And then we'll measure the next stitch line to see if it's close between 10 to 12 stitches per inch, just to see how accurately the calibration of the machine is working right now in feeding that material. Again, this, as you saw, the stitch length is going to manipulate those feed dogs to control the ratio and the movement of that material. So we're going to see if we can see how accurately that machine has been calibrated. Let's see, right around, yeah, I'll do it right around between 10 to 12. And I'm going to get a little drink as well. Right now, my throat's getting dry. Also, I should look at the chat too, shouldn't I? So the birth date is, oh, welcome to Megan as well. Welcome to Megan from Oregon. Let's see. And it looks like Emma said, let's see, April 8th, 1953. And the production group size was only 15,000. That is absolutely correct. But if anyone wants to fact check Emma, Emma and Susie are leaders on my team, but they can get it wrong, right? Any human being can make a mistake. So if anyone wants to fact check Emma and confirm that the machine that we're working with today was in fact born on April 8th, 1953, and that in that production group size there were only 15,000 machines, that's almost 1/10 the size of the larger production group sizes that Singer would commonly use. And that's why I say this machine is a rare treasure, a rare treasure because of that small production group size. But if anyone wants to double check Emma to make sure she got it right, that would be totally cool. Goes back to what Ronald Reagan always said. Ronald Reagan said, trust but verify, right? Trust but verify. All right, let's do this next stitch line, see what we think. All right, here we go. And again, give this machine a listen. It's almost ridiculously quiet. It's almost ridiculously quiet. It's like you could nod off and fall asleep. You could nod off and fall asleep with this machine running. I mean, you literally could. You could be in the same room. You could be in the same room sewing with John's machine, making this huge quilt or some other project. And your family could be only feet away from you watching a TV program, and they wouldn't even be bothered by it. They'd be like, "What, are you doing something over there? I didn't hear anything." I mean, it's that whisper quiet. It's just ridiculous. All right, I'm going to get an initial glimpse of these stitches. As my friend in Germany might say, I had a couple of words in my head at the same time. Das ist fantastisch. Das ist sehr schön. This is fantastic. This is so beautiful. The stitching that this 201-2 just laid down. Unbelievable. Let's get closer and I'll actually see if I can show it to you. All right. Yep, that's the top stitch. Make sure I have it orientated right. That is our top stitch. And then we'll look at the lock stitch as well. I'm going to disconnect the camera from the table, and we'll see if we can get closer and take a look at these. And I think I'm getting light. I'm getting light from above. All right. I'm getting light from above, but I think you can still see the stitches. Let me see if I can angle that down a little bit. Yeah, let's see. That's pretty good right there, I think. I'll try to leave it there. So absolutely gorgeous stitching. The spacing, the formation of the stitch, the presentation of the stitch. As I oftentimes say, the glory of the stitch is absolutely spot on. The top row where we were showing right around 6 stitches per inch, and then the bottom row where we adjusted that stitch length down to between 10 to 12 stitches per inch. I'll go across and give you a closer look, and you can actually see the stitching. And then I'm gonna go over there and shut that light off. Shut that light off that's above, because I think it's messing with our ability to see the stitching just a little bit. There we go. Unbelievably beautiful stitches, unbelievably beautiful. And it's not a given. It's not a given when you're working with any sewing machine, even the Rolls-Royce, of Singer sewing machines. If you got one where the hook timing is off or the machine has not been properly serviced and it's not delivering a quality stitch, this thing is actually loose on top. Hold on a second. I'm going to turn you sideways just for a second so I can tighten this. There's a little tightener on the bottom there. Give me a second. There we go. I got it nice and tight now. Hopefully it'll stay in one place. So what I was saying is any machine that's not properly serviced and adjusted and calibrated, it can have issues and not deliver the caliber of stitch that it should be delivering. But in this instance, we've got an absolutely page 34 plus stitch, the top row and the bottom row as well. Let's turn around and look at that lock stitch. This is our lock stitch now on the back. Let me see if I can get a right angle, a correct angle, and we'll go across and look at this one as well. Yeah, that light above is just goofing around. Hold on one second. Hold on a second here. Okay, just shut that light off above. Let's see if that helps. I think that's what we did in the last live stream as well. Let's see if that helps. It could be the lights behind me, though, too. It's hard to say. If I raise it up a little bit. Oops. Kind of looking over my shoulder at the camera. I think we got it now. I think we got it maybe. This again is our lock stitch that we're looking at right now, our lock stitch. And what I'm doing right now is I'm actually cupping my hand over the top of the camera. Actually cupping my hand over the top of the camera. Those are absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to actually move it a little bit closer now that I figured out the secret of cupping my hand over the camera. Absolutely gorgeous stitching. Absolutely gorgeous stitching. Now, one thing I wanted to do, and I didn't do it yet, is let me actually get out my little measure and see how we did as far as the calibration and the feet of the machine. See if I can set the camera and attach it back to the table again. All right, almost got it. There we go. Oops, wrong way. Okay, so as we're looking at this, I'm going to grab my little measure and we'll see how we did on calibration. Calibration, again, is in relation to the setting that you make on your stitch length controller. This right over here, our stitch length controller, in relation to where you calibrate your stitch length controller. This. How accurately is it delivering stitches in relation to the setting that you have on that stitch length controller? So let's see. Our top row first. And that's going to be 1 inch right there, right where I have my finger marked. Get that lined up correctly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So hopefully you can see that in the shot. We have exactly the correct calibration. Yeah, I think I have it angled right, sort of. We have exactly the correct calibration for the stitches. We've got 6 stitches, and we have exactly 1 inch. So the machine is spot on. Now this is going to be a little bit harder for me to see. This bottom row that we just did. Over just a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So in this lower stitch line that we did, within 1 inch, we have exactly the number of stitches that we should. Again, we set it right around on, it's hard to see when you're looking at it, whether it's 10 or 12. It was closer to 12. And we have exactly 12 stitches in a 1 inch space, which means the machine is running to, I almost said perfection, but I won't. It's running to near perfection as far as laying down the number of stitches in relation to the stitch length controller. And that's more rare than you might think it is. If you check some of your machines, you'll be surprised that when you set your machine at a certain stitch length, it might be between 2 to 4 stitches off, up or down, depending on how well your machine is adjusted and calibrated. So that's really quite good. Really, really quite good. All right, good. All right, so I'm going to throw this to the back. 100% cotton. And now we'll move on to another sew off. Let's see what we'll do next. Maybe we'll just buzz down some. Maybe we'll buzz down some of this compressed felt. I remember that Robin from Minnesota had said, could we try doing at some point 3 layers of compressed felt? I'll kind of push them so they separate. You see those 3 layers right there. Could we try doing 3 layers? Kind of like sewing through patio blocks? We can give it a try. Again, when you're dealing with a compressed material like this, that they use a heat process to fuse the fibers and to fortify the space, going through 1 or 2 layers of this stuff is enough of a challenge for most machines. Going through 3 layers of it, I don't know that I've ever tried that before. Some of you that watch real closely might recall if I have, but I think the most we've ever done is 2 layers of this compressed felt. We'll give 3 a try today. I'll start with 2, and then I'll add the 3rd layer to it. Okay? Let's see how the machine does. Not going to be easy. Not going to be easy at all. All right, I'm going to set this one to the side. I'm like a uniform guy. I got to make these all the same length or it's going to drive me crazy. Let me line these up. All right, that's pretty close. And we got this dangler out here. Let's cut that dangler off. I wish you could feel the amount of pressure I'm having to use to cut through that compressed felt. It's ridiculously thick stuff. Ridiculously. All right, so let's get those 2 pieces in place. Get that presser foot down. I'm going to adjust my stitch length back a little bit longer. And again, the more material levels you go through, if you got 2, 3, 4 layers of some material, let's say you've got multiple layers in a quilt, including the quilt batting, you might have to bump up that presser foot pressure a little bit higher in order to try to maintain some even feed of that material. It might have to happen, just so you're aware. All right. And I'm going to use a couple of clips on this as well. And I think it was either Emma or Susie it was Emma or Susie. They said, you've got this interesting habit, Scott. You've got this interesting habit where whenever you put your little clips on, you'll put one facing up and one facing down. And I don't know why I do that. I have no idea why I do that. So today, just to be a rebel, I'm going to put them facing the same way with the flat side down, which is really the correct way to do them, you know? You're supposed to have the flat side down so that they move more freely as you're sewing and using it to try to hold that material together. Put mine a little bit further down here. Yeah, I've got my own style. Yeah, I do. All right. Well, let's see what it does with these 2 layers of compressed felt, and then we'll add a 3rd layer. I have not tested this off camera, so I'm a little bit nervous. I'm a little bit nervous about doing 3 layers of compressed felt. All right, keep your fingers crossed. Keep your fingers and toes crossed. Here we go. Wow, that was so difficult. Did you hear the machine struggle and strain and moan and groan? No. Why did you have to do that so easily? I mean, really? Why did you? I'm building up the big fanfare to be dramatic, and you've got to go through 2 layers of compressed felt like it's no big deal. I mean, you show off. What a show off machine from 1953. What a show off machine from 1953. Yes, it is. All right, let me get that back. Clip to the rear. March. All right, here we go. Clip it there, clip it there. And I can already tell you what I'm seeing. I'm seeing absolutely drop dead gorgeous stitching. Absolutely drop dead gorgeous. That's our top stitch right there. Where is it? There it is. And our lock stitch. See if that helps. Yeah, that helps a little bit when I put my hand over the top. We'll look at these closer once I get done, but I just wanted to get an initial glimpse of them. You know what? That's silly. Let me actually take the camera off. We'll look at them. Because once we add this 3rd layer, we're going to cover up the lock stitch. And I want you to see it before we cover it up because of adding that 3rd layer. Let's actually see if we can get a closer look at it here. The other thing I'm going to do real quick is see if I can just add a little piece of paper to the top of the camera so I don't have to hold my hand over it. Hold on a second. Actually, something stiffer would be better. Let me grab one of my little machine tags. I think this will work well. I've got these little machine tags. When a machine comes into the workshop, I'll attach one of these tags to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of cut it and put it over the top of the camera to block out some of that overhead light, the LED light that's causing a little bit of a glare. We'll see if that helps. And no, I'm not going to use my sewing scissors, my fabric scissors to cut it. I'll use these other scissors. See if we can do this. This will make it a lot easier for me, I think. Give me 1 second. I got to get a little piece of tape. All right, let's see if this helps. I hope it helps. Oh, I put it on there crooked. Okay, let's see how this does. Having this little cone of protection over the top. See if that helps out a little bit. The only thing I realize I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to cut it off a little bit because it's sticking out too far. Hold on a second. There we go. Otherwise, I won't be able to get as close to the stitching if I have that sticking out too far. All right, let's see how this does. This might help. This might help a lot. Oh, yeah, that does help. Yay! That does help. Ha-ha! Constant and never-ending improvement. That's a big help. That helps quite a bit, actually. Absolutely amazing stitching. Isn't that gorgeous stitching? Through 2 layers of compressed felt. 2 layers of compressed felt. Unbelievable. Absolutely gorgeous. Now let's flip it over and look at the lock stitch, which if we don't look at it now, we're not going to be able to see it once we add that 3rd layer of compressed felt. Let's look at this lock stitch now, which I can already tell you is absolutely what? Spectacular. Absolutely spectacular. Unbelievable. What a beautiful stitch. We actually move it a little bit closer. Folks, that is a solid page 34 plus stitch. It really is. That's the totality of the stitching for the lock stitch. Totality of the stitching, I'm going to flip it around. Totality of the stitching for the top stitch as well. And now we're going to try for the first time, I believe for the first time in the history of this channel, we're going to try to do 3 layers of compressed felt. I don't believe I've ever done it before. It's making me really, really nervous. I don't think we've ever done it before. We've never done it before. So we're going to see how the machine handles that. Very, very difficult task. All right, let me get this back into position. Angling it the right way. That's actually really good. There's our 2 layers. Now we're going to try to add that 3rd layer. So I'm going to put that 3rd layer on the bottom. See what I mean? We would have covered up those stitches down below, and we would have missed out on being able to see them if we didn't take a look beforehand. So we've got to look beforehand now. Okay. So now this is what we're going to be attempting to sew through right there. That, you have no idea. You have no idea how difficult that is. As soon as they apply that heat factor to these fibers, it galvanizes those fibers. So just going through 1 or 2 layers of this stuff is off the charts. Now we're trying 3. Oh boy. Yeah, I'm a little nervous, a little bit nervous. We'll do it though. So make sure I cut this piece a little bit smaller. So I want to make sure that it's overhanging. So we actually hit it. We actually hit it with the stitches. Yep, I got it. And notice as well the clearance underneath the presser foot. No, it's not tight. We've got just a ton of clearance underneath there right now to go through these 3 layers of compressed felt. All right, let's get that down. There we go. Put on my little clips, and this time I'll be a rebel. This time I'll put 1 up and 1 down. Actually, I'll put this one up like that. I know. Why? I'm going to have to put it further. It's going to be, this stuff is so thick, it's almost popping these little clips. It's like literally almost popping these clips. I don't think I'm going to be able to get that past the, that presser foot is actually going to hit this. Kind of wiggling it back a little bit. All right, so I put that one upside down. Now I'm going to put the other one right side up. I have no idea why. It's just a thing. It's a thing. Yeah. All right. We'll see how this machine does. This is not going to be easy. This is not going to be easy. I'm going to move this one down a little bit further. There we go. All right. Let's see how we do. I've never done 3 layers before. I'm nervous, a little bit nervous. All right. Hopefully I don't hit this either. We'll see. Take it really slow. Let me get that off of there. Oh, there we go. I don't know if you can hear the machine working. The machine is going almost like a dum 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 dum. Gives you an idea of how difficult that actually is for the machine to do. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm glad that Robin from Minnesota suggested that because I've never tried it before and I honestly didn't know how we would do. We might have skip stitching, we might have distorted stitching, but that is definitely not the case. Oh my gosh, what beautiful stitching. Let me get this on the stitch off holder and we'll actually take a closer look at what John's 1953 Singer 201-2, which again, it has the smaller of the 2 motors. It's got a 0.5 amp potted motor where the little brother that I presented before that I also prepared for John had a 0.6 amp potted motor. So this has a 1/10 of an amp smaller motor, but it's just sewing like an animal. It's just sewing like an animal. All right, let me adjust the camera a little bit. I'll actually just take it off. Okay, so let me get this correct. So our top row is going to be our second stitch off. And our bottom row, let me see here. Let me get this right. Our bottom row will be our top row will be our first stitch off. Our bottom row will be our second stitch off. I think I got that right. I think I almost got it right. Maybe. All right, so this is the first stitch row we did on top. And then we got the second stitch row that we just did through the 3 layers of compressed felt. I'm going to pause right there and just say, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? If we were to do a measurement with my little tape measure, where in most cases, if you go through something this thick, look at the thickness of that. If you go through something this thick with a galvanized surface like this, with this compressed felt, you're going to get see a significant reduction in the size of the stitching because the machine just can't feed evenly 3 layers of this, even with the little clips I put on there. But we're not seeing that in this instance. We're seeing beautiful, robust, full-size stitches that are going to measure out to be around 6 stitches per inch on both rows, the top one and the bottom one where we went through the 3 layers. So the top row, again, we did 2 layers. The bottom row you're looking at here, we did 3 layers of compressed felt, and they're both, are you kidding me, out of your mind, gorgeous, crazy, beautiful, sehr schön, fantastisch, wunderbar type stitching. They're just off the charts. Sehr gut, amazing. Amazing stitching. Got to tilt it a little bit because we're having trouble seeing it on that angle. Unbelievable. Now let's flip it over and look at that lock stitch, which is going to be a lock stitch going through these 3 layers of compressed felt. 3 layers of compressed felt. I've got to get it up there. There we go. Get it even. Absolutely mind-blowing. I can't believe it. I never thought, I never even conceived of the idea of doing 3 layers of compressed felt. I never even thought about it. But Robin had said on a recent live stream, she said, give it a go, see what you think. And I did. And there you go. And again, the lock stitch is always more difficult to do. Always more difficult. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Totality of the stitching. Right about there. Amazing. So for the first time, to my knowledge, the first time in the history of the channel, we've gone through 3 layers of compressed felt with this 1953 201-2. I'm glad we did it on a 201-2 because it's such an iconic machine with sewing leather panels for Rolls-Royce from 1948 to 1952. It's such an iconic machine. Why not do it on a Rolls-Royce of Singers, right? So I'll throw this to the back as a definite pass, and we'll move on to our next sew off. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. All right, let me get the camera clip back on. See how it kind of wobbles? Isn't that fun? Watch this. Wow, 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 wow. I love it. All right, let's do a little bit of leather sewing now. And again, we're not using a leather needle this time. We're using a universal needle, a size 90-14. We'll see how it manages this genuine elk hide, which is what we're going to sew next. Genuine elk hide. Get that presser foot down. Single layer. Probably if you look at it from the side, I'll kind of tilt it like this a little bit. You look at it from the side, probably looking at about 3 ounces of leather. But again, remember that elk hide is chemically processed. So what it does is it fortifies that surface, just like protected full grain leather, with a chemical to protect it against staining and also to give it more durability. It galvanizes the surface of that leather. So where certain leathers are very supple, especially if you get into the garment leather type leather, it's just, it's almost like Play-Doh. This stuff is really rigid, and it's got a very, very high piercing threshold because of the way they process the leather. So number one, I want you to listen to the machine when it's going through this, considering we're not using a leather needle. And I also want you to, along with listening to the machine, let's see how it does in feeding this machine material as well over those feed dogs, because leather can be a little bit slippery sometimes. We'll see how it does. All right, here we go. I've got my take-up arm at the highest point, and we'll see how this 201-2 from 1953 does with this sew off. All right, here we go. No hand start, just give her the gas. Here we go. And I didn't give it crazy gas. I didn't hit the pedal to the metal. I just gave it a light push on the foot controller. And this has that traditional Bakelite style foot controller. And it just mowed through it with no effort whatsoever. And we've got some beautiful, beautiful looking stitching. Let's take a look at this closer. Give that a clip. I don't know if I'm going to be able to show it up here on the bed. That would be so much easier for me if I could do that. But I don't think I'm going to be able to do it. We'll see. Yeah, no, that's not going to work. All right, so let me take it down. I'll disconnect the camera from the table again, and we'll take a closer look at this. get it really, really close. So this is the genuine elk hide that we just did. Let's see what we think of these stitches. I can already tell you that I'm impressed. I am definitely impressed. And again, this is without the benefit. This is without the benefit of a leather needle. We're using a universal needle. Universal needle. Folks, those are absolutely gorgeous stitches. I'll go by one more time. Absolutely gorgeous stitching. Let's flip it over and take a look at that lock stitch. Actually going to turn it like this so it's a little bit easier to see it. There we go. This is our lock stitching through this single layer of genuine elk hide. And at certain points, you'll see the stitch kind of disappear. That's because of the nap of the leather. Elk hide it's got a very, very robust, furry type back on the back of it. It's not a flat nap on the rear of the leather. So you have to kind of squint a little bit sometimes. Well, I don't know what you're able to see, but I am seeing some drop dead gorgeous lock stitching as well. And again, the lock stitching is always more difficult for the machine to complete because it has to sweep through the bottom of that leather with the needle and then pull that thread back up through a second time. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Gorgeous, gorgeous stitching. The lock stitch and the top stitch is just absolutely brag worthy. Amazing, 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 amazing stitching on both sides of that material. So I'm going to throw this to the back, and now we're going to try something that's as crazy as 3 layers of compressed felt. Now we're going to try to do 2 layers of this chemically processed genuine elk hide with a non-leather needle, So I'm a little bit nervous about that, but we'll see how this machine does. Now, let me get this connected to the table again. And we'll take on this next sew off, which it's going to be a lot for this machine to do. No matter how strong this machine is, no matter how well I prepared it, 2 layers of genuine elk hide is a new level of sewing. It's a new level of sewing. So this is our next attempt right here. Look at the side of that. It is the equivalent of a thick belt, easily. And I have people that write me all the time from around the world saying, I have the same machine that you have, and mine can't even sew a quarter of that. It can't even sew a quarter of that. How do you get through something like this? It's my process. My process where a sew and vac will take 45 minutes to service a machine, I take about 14 hours. Going from one end of the machine to the other, eliminating anything that's going to hold that machine back. And that's how a machine like this that was designed to be a household family sewing machine can go through something that would challenge some light industrial machines. When you're talking about this amount of leather, probably about 10 to 12 ounces of leather, what we're looking at right here. So without further blah, blah, blahing, let's see how this machine does. And I'm deciding whether I want to, let me see here. I think in this instance, because this is even when they cut leather, they cut it from different parts of the hide. Certain parts of the hide are thicker. Some parts are a little bit more thin. This is really quite a thick sew off for this machine. So I'm going to face it the same way, kind of like you talk about putting the grain of the wood going the same way. we're going to put the grain of the leather going the same way. Normally I would flip it around and go back to back like this, but that increases the difficulty of maintaining stitch quality. You can see even the difference here. It's kind of ridiculously different when you look at these two pieces. This one is from a part of the hide. It's much, much thicker. This one right down here is quite a bit thinner than the top one. But when you marry them together, this is what you're looking at. So let's give it a go. I'll put the grain facing the same way, and we'll try going down this with John's 1953 201-2. And if someone joined the live stream late, then you might not know this because I shared it earlier. What year did Singer first introduce this model, this class 201? What did I want to say? What year did they first introduce the class 201? That's what I wanted to say the first time. Oh, goodness. One of these days, I will learn how to speak English. I will. One of these days. So what year did they first introduce the class 201? And what machine class did the 201 replace? They introduced the 201 and they took out of commission another class that had been in the works for almost 3 decades. Almost 3 decades. Anybody know? Anybody remember? When did they introduce the Singer Class 201? And what machine did the Class 201 replace? You guys didn't fall asleep, did you? You fell asleep. You guys fell asleep. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Okay, you guys are on the right track. 1935 is correct. 1935 is correct. But the 201 replaced another class, and it wasn't the 1591 because they continued to make the class 1591 for quite a long time after the 201 was introduced. They actually produced the 1591 starting in 1932, and they produced it until 1956. So even after the 201-2 was introduced, they continued to produce the 1591 up until 1956. So they only stopped producing the 1591 about 5 years before they stopped producing the 201-2. Let me say that in a way that's a lot more simpler to understand. And if one of you wants to type it into the live chat as a permanent record, that would be great. So the first machine on the scene was the 1591, the little brother, that was introduced in 1932 and produced until 1956. So 1932 to 1956, they produced the 1591, the little brother of the 201-2. In 1935 until 1961, 1935 to 1961, they produced the 201-2. But the machine that really got bumped to the side was the Class 66. The Class 66 had been on the scene for almost 3 decades, and Singer decided to go a different direction. And when they went a different direction, they rolled out the 1591 first in 1932, and then in 1935, they rolled out the 201-2. It was a different direction because for the first time, I shouldn't say for the first time because that's not true. For the first time in more contemporary times, in the later 1900s, they were introducing an upgraded potted style motor. There was another machine introduced much, much earlier in the 1920s that also had a potted style motor by Singer. Does anyone know what model that is? I've shown it on this channel before. So a lot of people, I've seen them post sometimes, the 201-2, the 1591 were the first machines by Singer with a potted style motor. That's absolutely false. That's absolutely false. There was a much earlier potted version that Singer rolled out. And I've showed it on this channel before. If anyone remembers that, type it in the live chat. A much earlier version, all the way back to the 1920s. So, but yeah, I mean, that's a quick skinny on the Class 66 had been the go-to machine forever and ever and ever and ever. And it was finally bumped out of the way in 1932, 1935 by these two machines that had potted motors. And then the Class 66, for all practical purposes, was retired. It was retired. It went to the beaches and got a pina colada and started singing songs. Yeah, it did. That's where the Class 66 is today, is somewhere on a beach drinking pina coladas. Because Singer said, we don't need you anymore. Thanks for all the years of service, but we're gonna replace you now with a Class 201 machine officially. And even before that, I say the Class 201-2 and the Class 201 series replaced the 66 because apples for apples, the Class 66 was a full-scale machine, a full-size machine, and you can't really say that a three-quarter size machine replaced a full-scale machine, a full-size machine. I guess you could. You could say that, but in actuality, it was when the 201 class rolled out in 1935 that the Class 66 was replaced by its equivalent by another full-size machine, if that makes sense. Yeah, sort of makes sense, maybe. Yeah. Yeah, Emma typed the correct answer. Look at what Emma wrote. Emma wrote the 101, and that's absolutely true. The Class 101 machine that was introduced in the 1920s did in fact, or is in fact, the predecessor to the 201 and the 1591. It was the very first machine to have not only a potted style technology from Singer, but it had another cool feature, and I'll give you a huge hint. It had another revolutionary feature that was built into the machine, and it relates to the bed. It relates to the bed area. Does anyone remember what the 101 has that was revolutionary back in the day in the 1920s when they introduced that machine? What did it offer? It offered something that was really cool, and many would argue very, very convenient. Very, very convenient and cool. Cool and convenient. We'll call it the CC factor. The CC factor of cool and convenient. What did it do? What could it do? What did it have? Does anyone remember? Someone remembers. I know you remember. You remember. Yeah, you do. All right. Well, while you're remembering, I'm going to try to sew through 2 layers of genuine elk hide. And I would not be surprised. Let me just say this in advance. I will not be surprised if we get a little bit of a reduced compression of the stitch, because we're going through so much leather. We're going through so much leather, and we don't have the benefit of a roller foot or a walking foot to give that material better feed and locomotion over the feed dogs and underneath the pressure foot. And that would be a way to improve it immediately, is getting a better pressure foot attachment on there that would give that material better feed. And no one is jumping at this question that I just threw out. I'm kind of surprised. I'm kind of shocked. I'm a little shocked. I'm borderline shocked. I'm not really shocked. I'm just messing with you guys. The other amazing feature of the Singer 101, introduced well before the Singer 1591 in 1932, well before the Class 201 in 1935. It also offered something that allowed you, I'm going to pull the camera back, it allowed you to take Where is it? There it is. Almost got it. I'm so close. Ha ha! It allowed you to take the entire bed off. You could take the entire bed off of the Singer 101. The entire bed came off. And their philosophy in doing that was to make it easier to service the machine. You no longer had to tilt the machine back to get to the bottom. The machine was engineered and built so that you could take the entire bed off and then lubricate all the key points by taking the bed entirely off, exposing all of the engineering without ever tilting the bed back. And you really didn't, I just did this for lubricating the machine. You didn't even have to do that. You didn't even have to go around and lubricate all those points. According to Singer, there was one area right in the middle that looked like a little reservoir, and it had little spider legs reaching out from it that supposedly went to all the key lubrication joints, the pivot points of the machine. And all you did was fill that reservoir with about 12 to 14 drops of oil, put the bed back on, and then it would self-lubricate itself for the duration until that reservoir ran out of sewing machine oil. And you really didn't even have to take the bed off to do that, because there was a little opening, a little hole right above the reservoir where you could drop that oil in. It would fill that reservoir up, and then it would wick out to those spider legs, and it would lubricate the key points of that 101 class machine. That was revolutionary. They called it an auto lubrication system, by removing the entire bed from the machine. Would anyone like to? I think it's all dusty, and it probably has a couple of little hank hairs on it as well. But if anyone in the live stream has not seen a 101 before, I can grab one real quick, even if it's dusty and dirty, and show it to you in the live stream. Would anyone like to see it? If not, we'll just move forward with the 2 layers of Elkide. But if anyone wants to see it, I'll see if I can grab it real quick and show it to you on the live stream. I'll look at the live chat, see what you guys are saying. Once I adjust the camera again. Susie would like to see the 101. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Let me see if I can find one real quick. Hold on a second. Got it. Now I've got to move John's machine back. I've got to change my camera angle. Let me see if I can change my camera angle up. All right, I'm going to kind of do it like that. See if that'll work. See if that works. Yeah, that sort of works. You know what? So I don't have to move John's machine, if that's okay. What I'll do is I'll set the 101 back here. So this is back here is a Singer 101. And there's a bolt, there's a little bolt right here, way back over here by the potted motor. You can't really see it. And then one over here. And then once you take those 4 little bolts out, the entire bed, this entire bed surface comes up, and then you can see all of the mechanics on the lower portion of the machine right here. And you don't have to tilt the machine back, because the difference between the 201 and the 101 is the 101 absolutely has to be mounted either in a base or in a table. And if I tilt it back, you'll see right away why it has to be mounted. Because the bottom is shaped kind of like a barrel. It's got more of a barrel design to it. And it does have some platforms here, but it's not really going to give you a stable sewing surface. It's not really going to give you a stable sewing surface like the platforms that are on the bottom of the 201-2. The 201-2 does not need to be in a table or mounted in a base. It's got a wonderful sewing platform. And that's the difference between these two models, is this one has more of an unstable base design. So it's better served if you mount it into a base or a table. And then you're able to get a nice sewing surface for that machine. But it really was revolutionary. I'll see if I can, it's quite heavy too, so I'm lifting it. There we go. All right. You can see the potted style motor design on the 101 is different. It's more of a bevel style. And in order to access it, you give it a twist like this, and you remove it. And then you're able to look inside of that motor. I'm going to ask you guys a really tricky question. And all of you are incredibly smart, incredibly well-versed in VSM, but some of you might get this wrong. Which of these two machines has a bigger motor? Is it the revolutionary Rolls-Royce of Singers introduced in 1935? Or is it the Singer 101 class introduced in the 1920s? Which machine has a bigger motor by amperage? Kind of a tricky question, isn't it? Yeah, it's a little tricky. Borderline tricky. Yeah, a little bit tricky. There we go. Got it back in. I'll look at the chat just to see if anybody gets that right, because it's kind of a tricky question. You know, is it the 101 or the 201 that has a bigger motor as far as the rating? Oh, you're very welcome, Susie. You're very, very welcome. We learn together all the time. I love learning from you, and I know you love learning from me. And what a great relationship that makes, where none of us claim to have all the answers, which opens up the floodgates to learn so much more than we would otherwise. All of you have been in groups somewhere, or you've worked for, maybe you work for an employer, you work for a company where the big shots thought that they had all the answers, and they never ever listened to the employees that were doing the jobs, even if they had suggestions on how to do the job better. They were like, no, we've always done it this way, and we're going to keep doing it this way. You know, I hate places like that. I hate places because they're not committed to improvement. There's always the opportunity to improve, and we only improve when we recognize that we don't have all the answers. You know, no matter what your title is, or no matter what your position is in life, if you recognize you don't have all the answers, it makes you wiser than Solomon, because you're willing to learn from other people. And that's what we do here at Cow Country. I learn from you guys, you learn from me, and we go out and we share that knowledge with the world. So yeah, absolutely. So I think it was Susie that had written, what about the 101? Does that have a bigger motor? Does it have a bigger motor? Yeah, and Megan is saying as well. Megan is saying, yeah, I think it's the 101. I think I'm going to go with Susie on this. Emma said the same thing. Emma said, yeah, I think it's the 101. It's got to be the 101. Yeah, Susie, constant and never-ending improvement. Exactly. Constant and never-ending improvement. It means that tomorrow we're going to be better than we were yesterday. And next week, we're going to be better than we were the previous week, because we're always improving. We're always learning. We're a sponge. Well, all of you that said the 101 by rating has a bigger motor, guess what? You are geniuses. I got to ring a bell. Where's a bell? Hand me a bell. Yep. The 101 does, in fact, have a bigger rated motor. It's going to be rated at 0.7 amps. 0.7 amps. Versus this machine right over here that we've been sewing off all kinds of crazy stuff is only rated with a 0.5 amp motor, which means this machine over here has 0.2 of an amp more power than this one. Just like if we had that 1591 right in the middle here that has that 0.6 amp motor, that 1591 would almost have the power of this 101. Almost. 0.6, this is 0.7. and then this is 0.5. Now they did make 201-2s with 0.6 amp motors, but never a 0.7 amp motor. Never, ever, 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 ever did they make a 201-2 with the equivalent 0.7 amp motor. Now here's the trade-off. With the level of digging into the machines that I do, I call it the surgical level. I dig into the machines. I go into every aspect of that motor, and I just make sure everything is working at absolute perfection. The one thing I will tell you is that the design of this very, very early 1920s style 101, the design and the engineering of the motor isn't quite to the level of the potted motor on the 201-2. So even though it's rated at 0.7 and this is only rated at 0.5, the reality is that this 201-2 would be able to keep up with this 101. Maybe even pass it a couple of times and then drop back, kind of like the Seabiscuit movie where the horses, they're always changing positions as they're going. This one's going ahead and you're like, yeah, baby, go, 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 go. And then this one goes, I'm not done yet. Kind of like Seabiscuit did to that really, really big, huge horse that should have been able to just blow it out of the water, and Seabiscuit beat it. So these machines would be able to go head to head if they were on my workbench and I set them up to sew and I did my surgical service on them and I optimized them. It'd be a really, really tough challenge type bet to see which one could sew at a higher level, even though this one is rated at 0.7 and this one is only rated at 0.5. So, but at any rate, this is the 101. It really is quite amazing, isn't it? It's quite spectacular. And it allows you to service the machine in a totally different way by totally removing, let's see if I can turn this around again, totally removing the entire bed comes off, and you're able to service that machine at a level that you couldn't do with this 201-2 without tilting it back, and giving it the little pillow rest like I do when it's on the workbench. So, yeah. I'm curious. I'm looking at this bed right now on this 101. It almost looks like it's wider than the 201. I'm just going to do a quick measurement for kicks and giggles. So a little bit shy of 7 inches. That's surprising. That's so surprising to me. That's so surprising. Which machine do you think has a wider bed as far as the harp space? If you didn't know it, this space right in here between the pillar and the needle and the arm and the bed is called the harp space, just like a harp you would play. And looking at these on the workbench right now, I was convinced that there was a difference in these two. One was wider than the other. Which one do you think is actually wider? The 101 or the 201? I'm going to measure them again just to make sure I'm not losing my mind. Yeah, I'm not losing my mind. Wow. Oh, welcome to our friend from. Oh, welcome to Kathy as well. Kathy, welcome. And welcome to Mesa Group. Mesa Group also got one of Susie's hats. Mesa Group also got one of Susie's hats as well. So the answer is because the 101 bed that's removable has a bevel to the edges. In other words, it curves down. It creates the illusion that it's a wider, more robust sewing space in the harp area. That's what I thought when I was looking at it. I looked at it, I thought that's more sewing space, right? But as I measure it, It's actually coming in under 7 inches from back to front. The 201-2 from back to front is coming in almost spot on at 7 inches. So they're really, really close, but the 201- is a little bit more deep in space from back to front, from front to back in the harp area than the 101. Kind of a shocker, isn't it? I'm just curious real quick while we have it here. What about the overall length? Right around 14.5 inches. Yeah, and they're both about the same length. They're going to be about 14.5 inches in length. Let's see, needle to pillar. Right around 8 inches for the 101. Needle to pillar with the 201. It's comparable. They're both going to be really close to 8 inches. From the bed to the bottom of the arm, right around 5 3/4. From the bed to the arm, right around 5 3/4. So all in all, the harp space, other than the depth by just a tiny little bit, they're all going to have fairly comparable workspace between the 101 that originated back in the 1920s and the 201-2 that originated around 1935. So Singer didn't change dimensionally dramatically. They didn't change dramatically the harp workspace and the overall bed length. Just a hair deeper on the 201-2, but it's hardly noticeable. It's hardly noticeable. And again, because the edges of the bed that's removable on the 101 are beveled, they're curved like this. When you look at the two machines side by side, your immediate impression is that the 101 is going to have more workspace, when in fact that's not the case. Yeah. Anyway, hope that's helpful. And it gave you a different insight into the predecessor to the very coveted Rolls-Royce of Singers. This machine over here that started out in the 1920s really did inspire a lot of what we love about the 201-2. The same machine that was in the Oliver Mansion down in South Bend, Indiana, purchased by a millionaire family that could have bought any machine that they wanted, and they chose a machine like this. Yeah, kind of cool. All right, let me get this out of the way. Okay, back to sewing after our slight deviation, which I hope you found that helpful. Our slight deviation. Now I've got to bend this little snaky camera back in the right position again. I'm also going to turn my heater back on as well because it's kind of chilly. A little bit chilly today. Okay, there we go. That's a pretty good shot. I think that's pretty good. Okay, so back to our task at hand. After a little bit of a deviation into seeing another really cool machine. Now we're going to try to take on a very, very difficult task. Makes me a little bit nervous, but I think we'll be okay. We're going to try to go through about 12 ounces of leather with these 2 layers of genuine elk hide. And I know I've done this before, but again, when leather is processed, depending on where they take it from the hide is going to determine how thick that leather is. Even the density of the leather will vary depending on where it comes off of the unfortunate animal that donates that leather for us to be able to sew like this. So I'm going to try to do this. I'm going to try to do it without a hand start. But again, this is a non-leather needle. When it hits that leather, it might go, holy mackerel, what are you doing to me? What are you doing to me? But we'll keep our fingers crossed that we can actually get through this without a hand start. I'm also going to clip the leather a little bit. I'll be a good boy and I'll put them the correct direction this time. I've got to clip it up here because this is cut kind of weird and the other second layer is not all the way over there. So, all right, let me put this other one on. All right. I'll look at the chat real quick, see if there's anything I have to respond to. Yeah, Kathy Pecor that's in the live chat right now, you might remember her. She was our grand prize winner for the contest that we did. And she won a 170th edition replica class 15 sewing machine hand crank. That was a lot of words. I almost have to take a deeper breath. Yeah, Kathy was our grand prize winner and walked away with a beautiful class 15 replica that was designed as a hand crank to celebrate the 170th anniversary of the Singer Sewing Machine Company. Really a special machine. And she's used it a couple times. And I shared some pictures that she shared with me of her sewing her first project with it near Madison, Wisconsin is where she lives. Madison's a real big city. If anybody knows Wisconsin, that's like a college town. That's our government headquarters for the state and all that kind of stuff. But Kathy actually drove all the way from that area of Wisconsin to the workshop. Kathy, remind me, was it about 2 or 3 hours, right, to get here? And then she received a special notation from the mayor in a frame, and she received a city coin as well. Yeah, we treated her like royalty because her family goes all the way back to the founding of what at the time was called Frenchtown, and is now called Oconto. So yeah, she always laughs at me when I say it, but Kathy's a celebrity. She's a celebrity. Yes, she is. All right, I'm going to get another drink of Diet Coke, the breakfast of champions. And then we're going to try to go through these 2 layers of this genuine elk hide. All right. Keep your fingers and toes crossed. We might break a needle. Let me just say that before we even try this. We might break a needle. And I say that because it's not a leather needle. So when it hits that leather, these 2 layers, look at that again from the side. When it hits those 2 layers of leather, we might snap the needle. If we do, then I can show you how to put a needle in. How much fun is that? Yeah. Awesome. Cool. All right, here we go. Let's see what happens. Oh gosh, I hate when I say that. Let's see what happens. All right. Folks, I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding. I did not give that a hand start. I did not even have the presser foot. Excuse me. I did not even have the foot controller down more than a quarter of the way. Not even a quarter of the way. I don't get it. I don't get it. I know workshop magic. I know workshop magic is powerful. More powerful than Harry Potter. I just posted Harry Potter on Facebook late last night with him holding a wand and saying, it's a quilt, not a blanket or something like that. Harry Potter is powerful, right? He's a powerful guy. I get it. But he's not anything close to workshop magic. I could totally take him out. Come on. That's a challenge. That's a challenge. We have celebrities that watch his channel. Harry Potter, or whatever your real name is. I have no idea what Harry Potter's real name is. Someone wants to type it in the live chat. That would really be great. But I'm just going to call him Harry Potter. So if Harry Potter wants to take the challenge and come here with his little wand and go up against workshop magic, Dr. Singer said, bring it. Dr. Singer, what'd you say? Dr. Singer and Mr. Bean said, bring it. We got you. We got you. Come on, Harry. Bring it. Bring it. Yeah, even Umi is like tightening up her fists and going, "Come on, Harry, bring it, bring it." Yeah, we're not afraid of you. We're not afraid. Hey, this is a special gift that Emma gave me. This little guy right here. Emma, tell them who this little guy is. Tell them who this little guy is over here. He's one of our newest additions to the workshop. This little fella right here. Yeah, that little guy right there. He's a cutie, isn't he? All right. So, at any rate, back to what I was just doing. I'm totally lost. Back to what I'm just doing. We just went through 12 ounces of leather without a hand start, not even giving the machine any gas, as I say, because our friends over in Europe say that it's not a motor, it's an engine. So I didn't even give much gas to the engine of this 201-2 that is a little bitty 0.5 amp motor. It's a little bitty 0.5 amp motor. It's only a tenth of an amp bigger than a featherweight. A featherweight has 0.4 amps. This 201-2 that we're sewing on today, that's going to be heading to Connecticut this week to my buddy, John Hartzell. It's only a 0.5 amp motor, a tenth of an amp bigger than a featherweight. And it just did what would choke a lot of light industrial machines. It would choke a lot of light industrial machines. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And that's why I'm saying to Harry Potter, bring it. Bring your little wand. Bring your little wand, and I will pull out the workshop magic, and I will blow you out of this workshop, buddy. Yeah, I'm going to blow you out of the workshop. Now, the only person I won't fight with workshop magic, I won't fight them. I will not fight them with workshop magic because I just love her to death, is Wednesday. Wednesday is untouchable. Wednesday is untouchable. I'm not going to mess with her. She comes to the workshop. We're going to sit down. We're going to do some stitching, some sewing, some hanging out. We're going to do the Wednesday dance to some music. And I'll film it with the other camera so you can actually hear the music. And we're going to be grooving and dipping and diving and doing all kinds of fun stuff. But Harry Potter, he comes here, he's toast. He's absolutely toast. Yeah, he is. All right, let's take a look at this stitching. Yeah. I can't believe this. This is crazy. Crazy. Unbelievable crazy. Yeah, see why I kind of moved that over. This has a little bit of an edge. I'll actually cut that edge off so that we can put it on the stitch off holder evenly. Put it on the stitch off holder evenly. That's just nuts. I don't even believe that. Amazing. Look at that. Look at me, Mom. I'm a bridge. You can walk over me and get all the way. Yeah, you get all the way to school. You never know, right? Holy cow. I can't believe we just did that. So I'm going to cut this little edge off, and then we're going to take a look at this stitching that we just did on this live stream. Even cutting that leather right there, it was, the scissors were like, what are you doing to me? What are you doing to me? All right, let's get this set up and take a look at this stitching now. I'm going to bend it back a little bit, 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 bending. All right, I think we're ready. Let's look at the top stitch first. Disconnect the camera. Shouldn't say that. I'm not disconnecting the camera. I'm just taking it off of the table. So this is our top stitch going through. Look at that from the side. I don't even believe that. I don't even believe that. 2 layers of genuine elk hide, and this 201-2 from 1953 with an itty bitty 0.5 amp motor just blew this out of the water. Blew it out of the, there's no water. Do not sew in the water. Don't say that Scott said to sew in the water and then plug your sewing. Don't do it. It's like a hair dryer. Don't it just knocked this out of the park. It just did. All right, let's look at this. This is our top stitch. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? What? Let me get it closer. We're going to get even closer to this. Without a leather needle. No leather needle in this machine. No leather needle. Are you kidding? I can't even believe it. I mean, I do, but I don't. Somebody is calling me from Pennsylvania. 707. See? Should answer it on the live stream just for fun. Hold on a second. Hi, this is Scott with Cow Country. How can I help you?
Hi, Scott. My name's Richard. I'm calling from Pennsylvania. How you doing this morning?
Good. You're actually on a live stream right now because I'm shooting a live stream right now, and I decided to take your call. So let me bump up the volume, and you can say hello to everybody.
Hello, everybody. How's it going, everybody?
Yeah. Let me move the microphone closer, and you can tell me why you're calling. I'm going to move the microphone really close. So hold on one second. Bump the volume way up.
Okay.
All right. So how can we help you today on this live stream?
What was your name again, sir?
This is Scott.
Scott. Thanks for taking the call. I was calling with respect to gaining some information on a old Singer 29-4 cobbler machine.
Oh yeah. The cobblers. I've actually got a couple of videos on the channel about those. I'll tell you what, if you have specific questions, do you do Facebook?
I do not.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, email me the questions about the cobbler machine. And I also have a manual for that machine as well if you don't have one yet.
Oh, that's excellent. I don't actually have the machine yet, but I'm looking to purchase one, and I was just wondering how long the bottom arms are on those machines.
Tell you what, any questions you have, shoot them to me by email. And my email is my first and last name. So it's ScottGellerMS@gmail.com. So ScottGellerMS@gmail.com. If you shoot them to me by email, either myself or Bill or Christine that work with me on Facebook, or one of my other leaders for that matter, will shoot you back an answer. And then you can reach out to me if you want to get a manual. I've got a manual that covers the maintenance of the machine and everything. It's about 80 pages long.
Oh, excellent. So it's ScottGeller@gmail.com.
That's absolutely right. Yep.
All right. Thanks, Scott. I appreciate it.
Tell me your first name again. Richard, thanks so much for joining us on the live stream today, and you have a great day, my friend.
And you too. Bye.
Bye. Yeah, nice fella, huh? Pennsylvania. We've got a couple of folks out in Pennsylvania that, let's see, there we go, in that call. Move that over. All right, back to our sew-off. I had the volume turned way down, but I thought it would be fun to take that call. I didn't know we've taken any calls on a live stream before, so that's kind of cool. And if anyone saw his number, don't call him and say, "Hey, Richard, glad you could join us on a live stream," because then it'll be like, "That wasn't cool. That wasn't cool, Scott." So yeah, just ignore his phone number. Never saw his phone number. Yeah, don't. Well, if you want to call him, you can. I don't care. All right. So here's the stitching. Let's look at this again. This is our top stitch. All right, going across. And it's totally funny that Richard called about a cobbler machine, because cobbler machines were designed specifically to sew heavy leather like this and to do boots and other things like that. They're just a crazy, crazy strong manual leather sewing type machine. You can actually find one of those. I set it up down by the water and showed that on one of the videos way back in the day. Absolutely amazing stitching. Let me come out and show you the totality of the stitching. Right about there. Beautiful, beautiful stitching. Wow, there we go. Really close. Really close. There it is. Come into focus, camera. Come into focus. So again, I'm going to turn it to the side as we turn it around to look at the lock stitch. Look at what we sewed through on this 201-2. If that doesn't blow you away, if that doesn't give you an appreciation for what workshop magic can do, because I'll tell you one thing, and I'll say it, I will say it and venture a challenge as well, just like I did to Harry Potter. If someone wants to try to get this equivalent of elk hide and send me a video of your 201-2 sewing it, I will post it on my channel because I know it's not going to happen. Other 201-2s would not have a chance of going through this much leather. They're just not going to be able to do it because they haven't been through the process here at the workshop. Absolutely insane. So that's our top stitch. Turn it around. Let's look at that lock stitch. And it'll be a little bit hard to see with that nap, unfortunately. But we're going to get as close as we can to look at that so you can see that lock stitch as well. Yeah, I'll turn it a little bit. There we go. If I had three hands, but I don't, if I had three hands, then I would be able to pull those other areas back, but you can catch a glimpse of the stitches on the end that are absolutely spectacular, spectacular stitches. And again, that's through about 12 ounces of genuine elk hide. You can see the edge of that right there, how thick it was, how thick it is. Unbelievable. Isn't it funny that that fella called and we're sewing leather that normally a cobbler machine would sew, and we're doing it with a 201-2. That's just crazy funny, isn't it? Kind of crazy funny. Yeah. Look at that. Unbelievable. Totality of the stitching, lock stitch, a little bit harder to see, but you can kind of see it. That's our lock stitch. Absolutely unbelievable. Absolutely amazing. Amazing. Yeah, it is. Yes. Yeah, turn it around. Oh my gosh. Are you kidding? Not a leather needle. We didn't use a leather needle to do this. Can you imagine what we could do with this machine with leather if we actually were using a leather needle? It would give us an edge for cutting through the leather that we don't currently have. And yet the raw grit, the raw power of this household family machine from 1953 is just going, no problem, got it. No problem, got it. Unbelievable. So I'm going to throw this into the pile with the other sew-offs that we've already done. I'll hook the camera back up, and we're going to continue to plow through some more sew-offs, and then we'll wrap this live stream up. And maybe we'll get another call as well and put somebody on the spot. Wouldn't that be fun? And if, you know what, maybe that's something we should start doing. Maybe during live streams, here's a crazy thing. Maybe during live streams, what we should start doing is we should start inviting people to call in, like a radio station, call in during the live stream with a question or a comment or whatever. Maybe they want to sing a song. If they want to sing a song, they should call us and sing a song on the live stream, just like this fella just did from Pennsylvania. Wouldn't that be fun to be able to offer that to folks? If anyone agrees that that's a good idea, we should invite folks, instead of just typing things into the live chat, we should invite them to call in during the live stream so they can actually pose their question or comment to the audience, and then we can kind of answer them right on the spot. That would be a new dimension to live streaming, wouldn't it? That'd be kind of cool. We should do that. We should consider doing that. Really should. Yeah, that would be fun. Yeah. All right, let me see if I can bend this sneaky camera back. There we go. All right, so I'm going to add this to our sew-off pile. This is what we've done so far already on this live stream. I'm going to take one of these out because one of these I did off camera. We've already done all this on the live stream. All of that. We just did the 2 layers of genuine elk hide, single layer of genuine elk hide, 3 layers of compressed felt. Are you out of your mind, Scott? Yes, I am. And then we did 100% cotton with a stiffener on top of that. Look at that. Already, this would be enough for most people to say, all right, we're done. We're out of here. Time to go to brunch. Time to get a taco. Time to bake a pizza. Time to make a vegan dish. Whatever we're going to make, we're going to do it. But we got more to do. We're going to play just a little bit more before we wrap this up. We're going to play a little bit more. All right, go over there. Yep, over there. Yep, there it is. All right, you too. Go over that way. All right. So let's see what we're going to do next. Let me get your input. Get your input, please. We've got protected full grain leather. 2 really big pieces of this stuff. I don't know why I cut it so big, but you can see that's going to be a crazy sew off as well. That's going to be crazy. Probably about close to 10 ounces of leather. And again, protected full grain leather, like the genuine elk hide, is chemically treated to reduce the likelihood of it staining, to protect it, to fortify it, to make it almost bulletproof stuff. And we're going to be going through 2 layers of that, kind of just goofing around, blah, blah, blah. Then I've got this saddle grade leather. Then I've got the bubble gum material. And if you're saying, why are you calling it bubble gum material? Well, yeah, it's a little bit stretchy, sort of, kind of. Yeah, it is. So as soon as you get bubblegum material that has a lot of vinyl in it, it's going to make it really easy to skip stitches, especially with all the working we've already done on this needle. But we're going to give it a go with 2 layers of this. And then finally, we got this vinyl paper stuff. So we got vinyl, bubblegum material, vinyl paper. We've got saddle grade leather. We've got protected full grain leather. So let's get some input from our family. Let's get some input on our family. I'll look at the live chat. Which one do you want to see us do first? Or do you want to give us a rank order? Someone wants to really, really, exert their authority, because we all have equal authority in this live stream to give input. Then give me a rank order. Scott, do this, do that, do this, do that. We basically have 1, 2, 3, 4 sew-offs left. We've got 4 sew-offs left, and you can choose the order that we do them in. And then we'll wrap this live stream up on John Hartzell's 1953 Singer 201-2. Yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to do that right now. Yeah, I'm so excited. I might turn the light on. All right, now I'm going to turn the light off because it messes the camera up. Yeah, it's off again. All right, so what do you guys think? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Yeah, exactly, Emma. That's why Rolls-Royce used this machine, because it can go through crazy amounts of leather and lay down page 34 plus stitching. Matter of fact, I have it on good authority that a couple of the Rolls-Royce employees back in the day, back in 1948 to 1952, when they would see the stitching on those interior leather panels in those luxury Rolls-Royce automobiles that royalty and big shots rode around in, they pointed at those stitches and they said, that's page 34 plus stitching. The car's ready to go. They did. I'm not making that up. Well, maybe a little, but whatever. Dr. Singer, don't shake your finger at me. It's on good authority, okay? It's on good authority that maybe they said that, but they probably didn't. So, yeah, I made that up. All right, I made it up. But it was a good story anyway about somebody's calling it page 34. Yeah. All right, whatever. Okay. Oh, hey. Yes. Bubblegum. Everybody's saying bubblegum. Everyone is like bubblegum crazy. So we'll do bubblegum first. We'll do bubblegum next. Let's do bubblegum. I think that's Becky, isn't it? Becky just popped in, and Becky's going to get everyone. Becky is going to get everyone a cup of coffee, because she just said it, sort of. So let her know how you want your coffee. Do you do it with creamer? Do you do it with regular sugar? Do you do it with honey? Do you do it sweet and low? Let her know how you want your coffee. And she's a generous, kind soul, and she'll prep the coffee for you. And then you just have to drink it. I mean, that's pretty easy to drink coffee, isn't it? Yeah, it is. All right, so let's do the bubblegum material next. We're going to bubblegum. I think that's a song, pretty sure. All right, we're going to do bubblegum next. Bubblegum material. Hey, yes. There we go. That's a pretty good shot, I think. That's a pretty good angle. All right, and the bubblegum material, which again is really super stretchy, I am going to put it back to back so we can see the stitching a little bit more easily. So we'll put it back to back like that so we got a nice clear surface to view those stitches once we go down. All right, there we go. And I'm going to be a little bit of a rebel. I'm going to be a rebel. I know that's shocking. I'm going to be a little bit of a rebel. And I'm going to see if I can. Oh, yeah, you guys can come over. Hold on. You can come over by all means. Absolutely. Mr. Bean wanted to check it out. Herr Obermeister from Deutschland. You guys want to kind of check it out? Oh, doctor wants to come over as well. His wife is a little bit nervous. She like, I don't think I will. These guys want to kind of check this next off. Yeah. Kind of have the doctor blocked. I mean, can you move over, Mr. Bean, so the doctor can be in the shot? Oh, I just killed the doctor. That was not, sorry. That was not on purpose. Sorry about that. All right, I'm gonna move the doctor over there. Move Herr Obermeister over there just a little bit. All right, is everybody in the shot now? Everybody's happy? Herr Obermeister, the doctor, Mr. Bean, everybody's in the shot. Everybody's happy. Okay, now we can sew bubblegum material at last. Thank goodness. All right, so here goes bubblegum material, 2 layers of it. I don't know, maybe I should put my little clips on because I notoriously do not sew straight. Let's see here. One right there, maybe. Oh, there we go. All right, one right there. And being a rebel, I'll put this one upside down right there. Right there. Okay, good. All right, bubblegum material, 2 layers. Here we go. Are you guys ready? Herr Obermeister, Doctor, Mr. Bean, let's get this done. What do you think? Let's get this done. Here we go. Yes, okay. All right, take that one off. Yes, I'm watching my fingers, doctor. I'm watching my fingers, trying to be careful. Take this one off. Oh my goodness gravy. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. That is just something else. Look at that. That's the initial glimpse right there. That's the initial glimpse right there. Yes. Page 34, Mr. Bean. Page 34 plus. Yeah, they are. Page 34 plus. Let's turn it over. Aha. Yes. Page 34 plus. There they are. All right, let's get a closer look of them. Let's get a closer look. You do not have to go to the bathroom, Mr. Bean. You're just saying that so you can go back and play video games. We know your game. Herr Obermeister said that when I'm not in the workshop, which is very seldom, that you play video games all the time. Now, that's not good for you. Okay, that's not good for you. Too much of anything. Don't do it. Don't do that anymore. Yeah. All right, let's get this over here and check this out. Let's check it out. Let's check it out. Here we go. I don't know if this is going to lay down or not. It'd be good because it's going to try to curl. It's going to be curly-whirly here. Do my best. All right. So here's the bubblegum material. This is our top stitch. There it is. Absolutely spectacular. Absolutely insane. You can see that vinyl factor of how it's curling. It's curling as we're trying to look at this stitching. It's going to be even worse when we turn it to the lock stitch. It's going to be even worse. But absolutely gorgeous page 34 stitching. Absolutely gorgeous stitching. And this is an incredibly, oops, I just blew on it with my breath. This is an incredibly tricky material to sew because of that vinyl factor. Now let's turn it over and look at that lock stitch, and I'm gonna have to hold on to it because it's just gonna try to jump off of there with that curl factor. It's not gonna be a good sew off material to try. I'm gonna press it in there a little bit, see if I can get it to lay down. Okay, just can you behave just long enough for me to do? Okay, hold on a second. Let's hold on a second. I'll get one of my big clips. Get one of my big clips here. All right, you stay right there. You'll be a good boy. You'll be a good boy for mommy, okay? Be a good boy for daddy, okay? All right, let's look at this. This is our lock stitch. Again, the lock stitch is going to be tougher. That needle has to sweep down through this heavily vinyl-laden material and then pull that thread back up and get that stitch to be defined. And that's exactly what this 201-2 did. Look at that stitching. Absolutely, are you kidding me, nuts? Absolutely crazy. Trying to look over my shoulder to see if the camera's focusing. I think it is. Folks, this machine is just like I think it was Emma. Didn't Emma said, no wonder Rolls-Royce used it. You know what I mean? No matter what you throw in front of this machine, it just goes, what's the big deal? What's the big deal? What's the big deal? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right, I'm going to back it up and watch what happens when I let go of this. Ah, there it is. That is. It's a curly material. It's like a chip. Yeah, it's like a chip. Look at that. It's so pretty. It's so pretty. Unbelievable. And again, that's not really thin either. Watch, now it'll be like a bridge. We'll turn it the other way. Now it's like a little bridge. Actually flattened it out pretty good. That's pretty impressive. There's our lock stitch again. Unbelievable. Beautiful stitching. All right, let's add it to the pile. It's in the pile back there. There it is. There it is. All right. So now we have vinyl paper, we have saddle grade leather, and we have protected full grain leather. And again, we're not using a leather needle. We do not have a leather needle in this machine. If you joined us a little bit late in the live stream, we're sewing with a universal size 90-14 needle. There we go. Got it. I'm starting to figure this this snaky thing out. I'm getting better with it. Getting better with it. Getting better. Getting better and better and better. All right, guys, I'm going to have you back up just a little bit. Have you back up a little bit over here. There we go. No, it's good to have you guys here. I just don't want to knock you over. Don't want to knock you over. All right. So now we will do, for kicks and giggles and for fun, now we will do vinyl paper. And I'll orientate this the same way. And I'll give the machine just a little bit more gas when we go down this. A little bit more gas for our motor. All right. So vinyl paper, it's not a difficult sew off because what makes it difficult is the vinyl factor in it. If you've ever sewn with vinyl before, you know that it can distort and cause skip stitching. So we're going to be buzzing down this vinyl paper. And I don't know if anyone has picked this up since I recommended you check it out at the Dollar Tree. You can buy a big roll of this stuff at the Dollar Tree for $1.25. But there's so many projects you could do with this. It's got a lot of possibilities. A lot of possibilities. All right, let me clip it again, see if I can keep it relatively straight. And then we'll buzz down this vinyl paper stuff. Oh, wait a second now. Wait a second, Becky. Becky. You got what kind of coffee? I've never even heard of that before. She's back with chocolate mint coffee? I didn't even know that was a thing. You know what? I'll bet you Harry Potter probably drinks chocolate mint coffee too, because it sounds kind of fancy and it sounds magical. Becky, does it taste magical? Just tell us. Kind of rub it in the fact that you've got chocolate mint coffee and we don't. Because you just gave us plain coffee. You just gave us basic coffee, and then you got chocolate mint coffee for yourself. What's that about? What's that about? Come on, take care of your family here. Take care of your family. What does she have? What is this? Oh, she adds mint syrup to it. I didn't even know you could do that with coffee. I didn't know you could add mint syrup. I know you could add honey to coffee, but I never heard of adding mint syrup. Has anyone had mint syrup before? I've never even heard of mint syrup. I got to get out more. That sounds really good. I love mint. Mint is so good, especially in the winter time. Mint is fabulous. Fabulous. All right. Let's do this vinyl paper, and then we have 2 leather sew-offs to wrap up this live stream. All right, here we go. Now, give it, like I said, I'll give it a little bit more gas this time, a little bit more, but not much. Little. Here we go. I almost sewed over the clip. That was kind of bad. That was kind of bad. Absolutely gorgeous. It's hard to see stitching on this, but we'll see if we can get real close to it and just kind of check it out for fun. But again, the big deal. Oh, I killed Herr Obermeister. I apologize. No, you didn't. You don't get a workman's comp for me knocking you over during a live stream. You're not going to get workman's comp. Emma and Susie are part of the HR department. Emma and Susie, would you tell Herr Obermeister that he's not going to get workman's comp because I knocked him over? He's not even hurt. Look at that. He's fine. He's fine. You're fine. You get knocked over and you're fine now, and you're not going to get workman's comp. You're not going to get long-term disability. Emma and Susie, could you deal with him? I got to focus on this. You got to talk to him about. I'll get you some mint coffee and you'll be fine. Okay? You'll get mint coffee like Becky, and you'll be healed. It has magical healing powers. Yes, it does. All right, let's check these out. All right, take the camera off. And it'll be a little bit hard for us to see this. We'll do our best to see it. We'll do our best. See how that has kind of a glossiness to it. It messes with the camera just a little bit. There we go. I'm going to move it a little bit closer. Beautiful, beautiful stitching. Beautiful stitching. Wow. Wow. So if any of you decide to pick this stuff up and do a project, let us know about it. Let us know what you created with this vinyl paper. It's kind of cool stuff. I think it's really pretty. It's really pretty, and they've got all different colors. You don't have to go with this purpley. Is this purple? Would you guys consider this purple color? But whatever color this is, you don't have to go with this color. You can go with a totally different color. Let's turn it around and look at the lock stitch. See what you guys think of the lock stitch. I think it's really cool. Yeah, it's cool. All right, here we go. Almost got it. Almost got it. Trying to look over my shoulder at the camera, at the laptop. Yeah, I think this stuff has some possibilities. I don't know exactly, but it would be fun to, even if you're teaching like a grandchild or a child of yours or whatever, sewing. It's so inexpensive to get a long roll of this stuff and to create some pretty pictures with it or whatever you wanted to do. You could draw a picture on this stuff, and then you could have your child or grandchild sit down and try to stitch around the picture. I think it'd be fun. I think it'd be a lot of fun. Yeah. Anyway, it's kind of fun to try new try to find. Okay, I'm going to try it in English this time. It's fun to try new materials, isn't it? And this vinyl paper gives a totally different dimension to sewing. You could use specialty thread with this stuff and do some fun projects yourself or with your grandkids or with your kids or with your neighbor's kids or with who knows, a lot of possibilities. So I'll throw that back into the pile as well. And so far on this live stream, we only have two more sew-offs to do. Only two more sew-offs to do. On this Schmetz 9014 needle, this is what we've done so far. We've done cotton on camera, off camera. We've done compressed felt. We've done vinyl paper. We've done elk hide. We've done bubblegum material. What else? I think that's everything. Yeah. So that would be enough for most people, but our standards in our cow country family are a lot higher. A lot higher. So we're going to do just two more sew-offs. We've got saddle grade leather and we have protected full grain leather we're going to do next. And then we'll wrap up this live stream. All right, I'm going to reattach the camera over here on the end of the table. Hopefully I have about the correct angle. Pretty close. There we go. I love how it wiggles. I guess I'm a kid at heart. You know, you see this and you just want to touch it like, does it move when you touch it, Mom? Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it moves just a little bit when you touch it. Well, will it move if I do it again? Yeah, maybe a little bit. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it's going to wiggle a little bit when you do it again. Stop touching the camera. Oh, yeah. What are you going to do? I know. So hopefully Emma and Susie got back to you. You're not going to get any money out of this, Harold Burmeister. You're just not. You're not going to. You can't claim an injury. You fell on carpet. I mean, what'd you get, a carpet burn or something? Come on, man. Come on. Oh, Bill was gone and Bill came back. Bill, how is the puppy doing? How's your puppy doing, Bill? Yeah, they probably already asked you that, but I'll ask you anyway. I hope your puppy's doing well. She is a beauty. Did anyone see Bill's puppy? Did you guys see Bill's puppy on Facebook? Hold on a second. I got to see if I can find it real quick. See if I can find Bill's puppy real quick. She is gorgeous. Oh my gosh, she's gorgeous. I got to do some scrolling because I do a lot of posts. Let's see here. Where is it? Okay, let's scroll. Oh, I just did a post on this machine. If you want to check it out on Facebook, I'm going to be doing 2 or 3 more sets of photos. I do probably about 200 pictures of this 201-2 that we're live streaming today. You have to check those out on Facebook. Even if you don't do Facebook, you can still look at them, I think. Maybe. There you are right there. Yeah, you point at us all day long. We will take you out with Workshop Magic Mr. Potter, Harry Potter. Yeah, we will. You can come here anytime, any day. Yeah, we got something for you. We got something for you. Trying to do it with a Brooklyn accent. I'm not doing so well. All right, we're looking for Bill's. He's cute. We're looking for Bill's puppy. Where's Bill's puppy? Probably way down somewhere. We'll find her. Hold on. Bill's puppy. Come on, load there. Load. I didn't realize I posted so much on Facebook. I mean, what's going on with that? There she is. Wait. Nora, right? Yeah, Nora. That's Nora. That's Bill's dog, Nora, right there. Now, if you don't think she's gorgeous, you probably should go to the optometrist like me and get new glasses or new contacts. That's Nora. She is just she's gorgeous. Isn't she lovely? Where is that? There's Nora. When I sent Bill the hat that Susie made. Susie from Minnesota made all those hats, and now she's sending more hats. And they may even be arrived at the workshop right now, but we're doing the live stream, so I'll check it out after. But when I mailed Bill the hat that Susie made, I also mailed a treat for Nora, and you can see she is locked. She's locked on that treat right now, saying, "Oh yeah, I'll take some of that. Yes, please. Yes, please." There, I circled it. I didn't know why I did that, but I put, there's the biscuit right there. There's Nora, and Nora's going, yeah, okay. Yeah, all right. So anyway, yeah, that's Bill's dog. If you're like, what, Bill has a dog? Yeah, it's Nora right there. There she is. She's absolutely gorgeous. All right, I'm going to move Nora out of the way. All right, adjust the camera again, and we'll do these last two sew-offs. Going to do these last two sew-offs. This can't, come on, snaky thing, be nice. Be nice, snaky thing. Almost got it. I'm so close. There it is. Ha-ha. Look at it, it still moves, Mom. It still moves. It still moves. Okay, let's do these last two sew-offs. Does anyone have input? Do you want to see saddle grade leather first or protected full grain leather? We're going to do 2 layers of each of them. So if anyone wants to type into the live chat whether we're going to do saddle grade, which is the brown one, or the protected full grain leather, which is the blue one. The saddle grade, I'm just going to buzz down the middle. The blue one, I'll probably buzz around and create like a little box or something like that because it's such a big chunk. Unless I decide to cut it down. We cut it down, then we'll just do a single strip run as well. So, any input? What do you guys think? And Emma's saying, do protected. Do protected first. You know what? Nora was famous. Nora was famous even before we just showed her on this channel. Now, those of you that don't know it, we've got almost 14,000 subscribers, but we get between 30 to 80,000 unique visitors to the Cow Country YouTube channel every month. So by the end, in the next 28-day cycle, between 30 to 80,000 people will watch the different videos and such, and many of them will catch a glimpse of Nora. And then they're going to go out and they're going to be going to their local pet stores or their breeders and saying, can I get a dog like Nora, like Bill's Nora over in Minnesota? And they're going to say, nope, there's only one. Sorry. And then they'll have to leave with a lizard or a bird or something like that. Now, a lizard or a bird, okay, whatever, but they're not Nora. There's only one Nora. Sorry to tell you that. Bill's got Nora. You lose. Yeah, that's the way it is. Sorry. All right, let's do protected full grain first. We'll do it back to back. Let's see here. There we go. Almost got it. All right, we'll go down and around, I think. I think we'll go down and around. Oh, geez, I knocked him over. Now that's 2 times I knocked over Herr Obermeister. I'm going to move him out of the way because he's going to try to get rich off of this. You know, he's gonna go after you. Gonna go after you. All right. No, I'm not going to knock you over too, Mr. Bean, just because I knocked over here. Okay, once. I'll knock you over once. All right, there you are. Wait, you're behind that. Can I see? Can you see? You see him? No, you still can't see him. We'll move you over here. Okay, now you're over there. Okay, now I'm gonna. There we go. I knocked you over once. Okay. What do you mean you can take it? What do you? Oh, geez, I knocked him over 3 times now. Holy mackerel! We got a riot going on here. Someone call the police. Okay, so I knocked over Herr Obermeister 3 times. Now we're knocking you over. Wait. Hey, wait! Don't fight back. All right, there's 2. All right, one more time. 3. There we go. No, I'm not going to knock the doctor over because if you guys get hurt, the doctor has to be good to go in order to take care of you. Okay. So you guys just behave. Okay. You just stay right over there. Move you back further so you don't get knocked over again. All right. Clip that right there. Okay. So we're going to try to go down and around. Again, we're not using a leather needle. If you joined us late, we're sewing with a Schmetz 9014 universal needle. It's going to be like this one right here. It's going to be like that right there. That's the needle that we're using. Yeah. Okay. So let's go down and around on this protected full grain leather, see how we do, and then we'll do our saddle grade leather last. All right, here we go. Okay, I'm going to rotate this. All right, I'm not going to knock anybody over. You guys are good. You're fine. Holy mackerel. I decided to be crazy and I just gave it too much gas. And now I just sewed off the leather. Ah, Jiminy crickets. See if I can still turn it. Oh, gee whiz. I just caught the very edge, the very, very edge of the protected full grain leather. I'm going to see if I can get back on course. We might need to put on the snow tires. We might need the snow tires because I'm on the slippery spot of the leather right now. We might need snow tires. All right, now we're on the straightaway. Let's see if we can get back on. We might have a little stubby stitch on this end over here because I'm hanging off the edge right now. We're like cliffhanger. We're cliffhanger right here. All right, here we go. Let's see if we can do this. Here we go. All right, a little bit more gas. All right. Yes. All right, I'm going to close the box for the box closers. Yes. And if Nora is watching this with Bill right now, she's probably cocking her head to the side saying, "What was that?" She probably thinks it's a turkey. And she's running by the window saying, "Let's go hunting. Let's go hunting. Let's do it now. Come on, Dad." All right, throw that back. Oh, yeah, you can see where I went off the leather there. That was ugly. That was ugly. All right, let's check this out, see what we think. This is going to be a little bit of a challenge. I'm going to have to grab it on the top with a clip or something. There we go. I got her. I got her. All right. 2 layers of protected full grain leather. This is our sew off that we just did. Almost tipped my chair over there. That was exciting. All right, let's check these out. Wow. Wow. Yeah. Woo. Unbelievable. Wow. Absolutely gorgeous stitching. That is a solid, 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 solid. Page 34 plus. Totality of the stitching. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. 2 layers of protected full grain leather. And this 201-2 just kind of buzzed through it. The only goof up was when I went off the leather. But other than that, it just knocked it out of the park. All right, I'm going to let go of that. It didn't even fall off. Yay. I'm going to turn it around. Look at from the side what we just went through as I get ready to turn this over. That's going to be real close to about 8 to 10 ounces of leather right there. 8 to 10 ounces. I'm going to flip it over the rest of the way. We'll look at that lock stitch now. You'll be able to see my goof up where I sewed off the leather right up near the top here. I'm going to hold the camera with one little finger basically and see if I can get this to clip on. Hold on a second. All right, I think that'll stay. I hope that'll stay. It might stay. All right. So this is our lock stitch. And just ignore how I don't sew very straight, but the stitch quality is just absolutely spectacular. Absolutely spectacular. Hold on a second. There we go. Got it. Got it. And I say it all the time. Some of you might tire of me saying it, but I really want you to understand that the lock stitch is always going to be more difficult for the machine to stitch. Yeah, I went off course there. You can kind of see that. That's probably like a C- as far as sewing straight, but that's an A+ as far as stitch quality. Absolutely gorgeous stitching. So, totality of the stitching. Totality. Absolutely amazing. Definitely a page 34 plus stitch off, both with the top stitching and with the lock stitching as well. Trying to hold it straight there. There we go. And again, the idea of what we just sewed through and this machine made so easy. Look at that from the side. Absolutely insane. And again, this is by definition a household family sewing machine, and yet it's sewing like a light industrial machine. And it's not a one-off. It's not a one-off. This machine, if it's properly maintained, can do this type of sewing all day long. Leather sewing, compress felt, you name it. You name it. Canvas sewing. As long as you maintain this machine properly, it can sew like this 24/7. 24/7. Keep a fresh needle and maintain the machine properly. And there's no stopping this machine. No stopping it. All right, let me put that. Oops, timber. Put that over there. I'll put that on the bottom. It's so bulky. So one sew off left. One sew off left. This is what we've done, with the exception of one of those sew offs for the 100% cotton. All of this was done on this live stream today. That's what the real deal looks like. It's not some of those channels where they show you one quick little sew off on some flimsy little cotton and they consider the machine ready to go out for sale or whatever they're going to do with it. This is the way you really put a machine to the test. And I'm the only one that I'm aware of that when I get done preparing a machine for a customer, it has to graduate from the workshop and go through a sewing Olympics like this in front of a live audience before it gets the stamp of approval to leave and to head towards that final destination of that new owner. I'm the only one that I'm aware of that does this. No one else in the world. But this is the way everyone, in my opinion, should be doing it. Everyone. So that customer that's buying from that vintage specialist has the trust and confidence to know that that machine is going to be able to handle any job that they put in front of it. Any job. All right, let me get the camera up again. Yes, it's still bobbing, Mr. Bean. It's still bobbing. Ha-ha! Ha-ha! Yes! It's so much fun. I love this snaky thing that Emma sent me. It's almost like a slinky. It's kind of like a slinky almost. So much fun to play with. And as a tool, too. Yeah. All right. Final sew off. Final sew off. 2 layers of saddle grade leather. We're going through that thickness right there, which is going to be right around close to 10 ounces of leather, 8 to 10 ounces of leather. And again, saddle grade leather is used in horse applications to make wallets, to make gun holsters. You've got a little sister, a little brother, you can slap them with it, blah, 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 that sort of thing. But it's really, really tough leather. And we're going to try to buzz down, right down the goalpost, go right down the center of it for our final sew off, and then give the final badge of approval to this 1953 Singer 201-2. First introduced, the Class 201 series was first introduced in what year? What year was it introduced, this Class 201? What year did it roll out of the Singer factories for the very first time? What year was that? What year did the Class 201 first get introduced? Oh, hello to Robin, too. Hello to Robin. I think Robin joined us a little bit late, which is fine. But Robin, in case you didn't notice or you didn't see it, I took on your, not really a challenge, but I took on your idea of going through 3 layers of compressed felt. We did it a little bit earlier if you want to rewind. And this 201-2 just absolutely knocked it out of the park. Eventually I'll find the right angle. Anyway, 3 layers of compressed felt. We did it earlier in the live stream. And now we're going to do our final sew off with this saddle grade leather. Saddle grade leather. Yes, 1935. 1935. And just 3 years earlier, the little brother of the 201-2 rolled out in 1932. So exciting stuff, exciting stuff. Okay, our final sew off is 2 layers of saddle grade leather. And you know what I just realized? See if I can get away with doing this. Let's actually put these back to back. So we'll be able to see the stitches on the nap of the leather, but let's actually make it easier for us and also make it a little bit harder for the machine by putting them back to back. So we're kind of going against the grain. You know what I mean? We don't have it orientated the same way. We're going back to back, which is a tougher sew off. And since we haven't even come close to challenging this 201-2, let's give it a little bit more of a challenge on this final sew off. A little bit more of a challenge. Again, if you're joining us late, we are not using a leather needle. We are not using a leather needle. We're using a Schmetz Universal 9014 needle. And we're using a basic Coates & Clark XP. Let me get a spool of it so I can show you. We're using this thread right here. I hadn't shown this to you. We're using this thread right here. It's a dual duty, all-purpose XP, and it's available at Joann. There it is. It's available at Joann Fabrics and probably at your fabric store as well. But this is not a Gutermann. It's not a super duper fancy thread, but it's a wonderful utility thread for almost any application you can imagine. Almost any application you can imagine. And again, the reason I buy my thread at Joann's is because they have sales all the time. And if you buy 3 of these, you get 2 free. You buy 3, you get 2 free. I don't know how you could beat that. So that's where I get all of my thread, because whenever I finish with a machine, I always send it threaded up, ready for the customer. They take it out of the box after they unpack it over a period of usually an hour and a half to 2 hours. Because of my packing method, it's like packing on steroids. And then as soon as they get the machine out and they plug it in, they're able to go to sewing right away, because I always have a spool of thread and a full bobbin in the machine ready to go. I think that's the best way to do it, don't you? So anyway, this is the thread. And again, a non-leather needle is what we're using. So, all right. So let's do this final sew off. No, I'm not going to knock you over again, Herr Obermeister. I won't knock you over again. The doctor can get into the shot as well. I think you can see him almost. Sort of. Move you right over here. We'll move Mr. Bean to the front. The doctor to the side. Herr Obermeister to the side. All right, you guys, don't push each other. Don't push each other. Just be nice. All right, there we go. Everybody's in the shot. Everybody's happy. Our friends are going, okay, let's go, let's go, let's go. Let's go, let's go, let's go. All right, final sew off. 2 layers of saddle grade leather. No hand start. I'll put both my hands down here so you can see. We're just going to give her a little bit of gas, and she will bust through this. I'm not even going to put my little clips on. No clips. We're just going to go brass tacks here and get her done. All right. I'm going to look over to the left. I'm going to look over to the left at the laptop. Would someone be so kind as to type the word go with 2 exclamation points, or 3 or 4, whatever you want to do. And as soon as I see the go appear, I'll hit the gas. Okay. Looking for a go. Come on, give me a go. Somebody give me a go. Somebody give me a go. Go with exclamation points. Come on, y'all. Yes! Ha! Ha, 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 ha! Oh, yeah. I went a little crazy on the pedal there for a little bit there. I went a little crazy on the pedal. Yes, a little crazy on the pedal. Ha ha! Thank you for the go. Thank you for the go. Yes. Ha ha! Oh, my goodness gravy. Oh, my goodness. Wait until you see this stitching. Wait until you see this stitching. Unbelievable. I just took out Mr. Bean. I took out Mr. Bean. I'm so sorry. I was actually aiming for Herr Obermeister. Let me slide you guys back so I don't knock anybody else out. All right, you guys go over there. Sorry, guys. Military training. I saw you. I thought you were a threat, and I just, yeah, I tried. Okay. All right, let's look at these final stitches on this saddle grade leather. 2 layers of it back to back. So we sewed against the grain, made it a little bit more difficult, which is fine. Because this 201-2 that was used by Rolls-Royce, I'm asking you rhetorically, I know the answer to this, but I want you to share with all of our other friends. When did Rolls-Royce use the Class 201 again to sew the interior leather panels of their luxury cars? What years was that? If anyone remembers, type that in the live chat, would you? Please? Thanks. All right, so let's get this set up. It doesn't matter which way we put it. They're gorgeous stitches everywhere, everywhere. That's our top stitch right there. All right, take the camera off. You guys are fine. I know I knocked you over, but you're strong, you're mighty. Cow country people are not wimps, they're tough. You guys got this, okay? Talk to the doctor if you got a scrape or something, all right? Whatever. You're fine. All right. Let's take a look at these. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. What are you? What? What? Unbelievable. Wow. If someone wants to type page 34 plus into the live chat, I think it warrants it. I'm conservative. I'll sometimes give something a page 34, and the other folks watching are like, are you nuts? That's a page 34 plus. But I'm saying that this is page 34 plus. Absolutely. 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 I don't think that's a real word, but I'm whatever. I'll write it in the dictionary. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Wow. Wow. Holy mackerel. Holy Jiminy Crickets. Holy Mastacholi. Totality of the stitching. Totality of the stitching. On. Wow. 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 If I turn it to the side, that's what we just sewed through. 2 layers of saddle grade leather. I think you can kind of see it almost. It's trying to run away. It's so excited it's running away. There it is. All right, let me lay it down. Put it back up. We'll look at the lock stitch now. Again, this is saddle grade leather used to make gun holsters and other equestrian type thingies. I think I'm saying that right. I might be saying it wrong. But at any rate, they make horse stuff out of this stuff too, because it's that durable. It's that hardcore. Yeah, let me get closer. Let me get closer on the lock stitch. There we go. All right, I'm going to balance this on my leg and see if I can get a nice smooth movement. Lock stitch, lock stitch, lock stitch. Wow. Unbelievable. Holy mackerel. All right, I'm just going to say it. If you have kids in the room, take them out. I'm going to say it. Jolly Ranchers. Jolly Ranchers. Yes. Jolly Ranchers and Diet Coke. It's that good. It's that amazing. John, you are going to love this machine. You're going to love this machine, John, out in Connecticut. You're going to love this machine out in Connecticut. Wow. Wow. All I can say is, wow. I mean, literally. The Singer 201-2, introduced in 1935, and continues to demonstrate why it's called the Rolls-Royce of Singer sewing machines. If you've been dreaming of one of these, and you don't want to have to go through the vetting process yourself, because there's so many things you've got to look for on one of these machines to make sure you're getting a peach of a machine and not a lemon, contact me. I will source an original owner 201-2 for you, and I will make sure it gets all of the workshop magic, just like I did for John with the 1591 and now the 201-2. And I will ship it off to you, and you can enjoy this level of sewing. I mean, let me show you again what we just did. I'm actually going to attach the camera again so I can have two hands to work with. There we go. I almost got it. Sort of got it. Okay. I think I got it. Okay. So we just did this saddle grade leather, 2 layers of that, 3 layers of compressed felt. And again, Robin was my inspiration. Robin was my inspiration for trying 3 layers. I'd never done it before. Never, ever have I done 3 layers. To my knowledge, I've never done 3 layers of compressed felt. And we did that today on the live stream. Amazing. Bubblegum material. Genuine elk hide, 2 layers of that, off the charts, crazy. Single layer of elk hide. I mean, can you see the mountain growing? Can you see the mountain? We did this 100% cotton with a stiffener. I'm going to put that on the bottom. We did this. I think it's fun. I just think it's fun. We did this vinyl paper that you can get at the Dollar Tree in a roll, and you can do different projects with your grandkids, your neighbors' kids, maybe a stranger on the street. Who knows? I have no idea. And then we did also this protected full grain leather as well, 2 layers of that. Not an easy sew off at all. So this is what we did on the live stream today. All of this. All of this. I'm going to ring the bell and signify that this machine is allowed to graduate from the workshop. Yeah. So with that, I'm going to adjust the camera a little bit so you can hopefully see the machine more. I am still figuring this thing out. I'm going to figure it out eventually. I'm going to figure it out. Yes, I will. There we go. I almost got it. Almost got it. So this again, it's such a privilege when I'm able to serve any customer. I consider it a sacred duty. I take it very seriously. I give every customer 110%, maybe 115%, 125%. Who knows? I'm not real good with math. You all know that. But at any rate, I give my whole heart and soul to every machine for a customer. And when a customer is so satisfied and so happy, they say, I want a second machine. And I get a chance to serve them again like John. What a privilege and what an honor, what a blessing. So I'm going to wrap this live stream up now. Please say your goodbyes or your hellos to all the wonderful people that have joined the live chat. If you're still sitting in the shadows, no problem. No judgment, no pressure. When you're ready to step out, where am I? When you're ready to step out, there, almost. Yes, there I am. When you're ready to step out of the shadows into the light and join our family and introduce yourself and all that, we welcome it. I think the camera's like doing a nosedive here. I better hold on to it. So when you're ready to join the family and step out into the live chat and say, hey, I'm so-and-so and I'm from such and such, that would be awesome. We're getting new folks all the time. It's exciting. I know the moderating team is excited. The rest of the family is like, yay, a new person. Awesome. Go ahead and do that. I think it would be fantastic. It'd be fabulous because we're so grateful. We're so honored to have you here. We're so honored to have you a part of our family. And again, I'm going to say it. I know a lot of stuff. I've been doing this over 20 years, but I'm learning every day and I learn from all of you. So when you get ready to step out and share your knowledge, to share some whatever, do it. And I know everyone's going to give you a big welcome, a big virtual hug and say, welcome to the family. It's so great to have you here. And we're so honored to welcome you in a public way. That's kind of what it is when you step from the shadows into the light, isn't it? It's a public step. It's a step of faith. It's a step of, I'm comfortable enough now. I'm going to do that. So at any rate, thanks to everybody. Thanks to the moderators as well. I always like to acknowledge the moderators for making everyone feel welcome and also kind of keeping an eye on things while I'm focused over here. We get any wackos that step into the mix and they start disrupting things. The moderators have some pretty powerful tools to deal with that as well. Thankfully, we don't have that happen very often, but I'm very grateful to Susie, to Emma, and I don't think there were any other moderators present today. If I missed you, I apologize. You can thrash me with some saddle grade leather for missing you. and not acknowledging you, but it's great to have all of you here. And thank you again for taking very valuable time on a Saturday to join us for this long live stream to celebrate John's second machine, this 201-2 from 1953. I tried to challenge it, and it just laughed at me with every single sew-off that we put in front of the machine. Nothing challenged this 201-2. And maybe that's why it's the big brother to the 1591. Maybe that's why it's the Rolls-Royce of sewing machines everywhere, not just Singer, everywhere. All the other makers out there, Jukies and everyone else, they wish they were a 201-2. I know they do. Yeah, they do. All right. God bless everybody, and have a great rest of your weekend. I love y'all and appreciate y'all so much. All right, bend down. There we go. That's the right angle. Yay. Yay. All right. Yes. Okay, Mr. Bean, enough. Go to the bathroom. If you have to go to the bathroom, go to the bathroom. Just go. Go. Ugh. No, he's not a wimp, Herr Obermeister. He's just needy. Mr. Bean is needy. Yes, he is. All right. Take care, everybody. God bless.